Hello? Wait, it looks like my internet's a little choppy. Give me a second. Hold on. Nah. Internet speed test. It might. It might kill it for a little bit. Ooh. Okay, it seems okay. If I do disconnect, just let me know in chat, because that would be kind of sad. If I'm talking and explaining halfway, then it just dies. Okay. Hi, is everyone here? Let me check. Hi, Tapi. Hi, Kura. Hello. It's been a while. I do have some music in the background. If it's too loud, let me know. Suddenly there's no sound. The hell? Oh dear. Can everyone hear me? Is the stream okay? Your CSP tutorial summoned me. Yeah. Drag you out of the woods there. Sorry, it's a little late. I intended to come on a bit earlier, but I was still outside. Not say shit talking. I was having a time at a cafe. But anyway, let me just make sure that the friends who are here. Alright, I'm gonna call attendance because some people said they wanted to be here. I'm gonna call attendance for Tsugiri, I'm gonna call attendance for Ginya, and I'm gonna call attendance for Tapi is here. You are here. Let's see. Is Ginya here? Can you raise your hand? I don't think he's here. Is he streaming too? That'd be pretty funny. You playing Pokemon? Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna help him then. Tsukiri here? Let's see. Oh! No one's supposed to see that. Don't worry about it. Stream on. It's okay, don't worry, nothing sensitive was there. Oh well, okay. For the sake of anyone who's like, let's see. For the sake of everyone who's already here, I am not gonna dally for too long. But let me just open like a couple of stuff. I was thinking how I was gonna do this today, and I'm so real. Like I don't I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it, but we'll find out. Okay, we'll find out together. I'm gonna open a bunch of old stuff. See if it's did I do animation in here? Fuck, wait, no. This. Oh, I did not. Okay. I'm streaming my desktop, so like it's a bit risky, but this is the only way. This is the only way I'm gonna show you, show anyone what's happening, because I do have a bunch of windows in CSP that popped out of the program itself, and if I just stream CSP itself, you can't see the things that popped up. So for example, like the color wheel, like normally you guys won't be able to see this. Occasionally I do have color mixing like popped up here as well, so you guys normally don't see this either. But yeah, the one very useful thing is yeah, just being able to pop out windows anywhere I would like. So let me just make sure some things are set up. Sorry, I'm super unprepared today. But if you guys have any questions like on how to use certain things, or like for example, you don't know how the masking works here, you don't know how clipping works here, um, or there are certain issues that you face when you're working, like you can let me know. Um, uh, so I think for a lot of people, I'm just gonna start very softly here. So I'll just go through what Clip Studio typically has. My layout is not default Clip Studio. I think when a lot of people load in to Clip Studio, your workspace um will likely look a little more cluttered, I would say. So let me go here. I'll just go to go to the illustration. And let me just let me try resetting the default. Yeah, so I think for most people, this is the default like Clip Studio, and let me just push it a little bit because I do know that my overlay might cover some stuff. So this is default Clip Studio, and what you're gonna see is that the toolbar is always like on the left side. You will see the brush size here, and there's like a bunch of like tiny tabs everywhere, and it can get a little bit overwhelming. So I'm just gonna make it easier for everyone and tell you guys like what you need and what you don't really need. But full note here, I need to warn you that I am using Clip Studio EX, so the highest tier of Clip Studio, and I'm currently on what version am I using? I'm currently on version 3. So if you're using like version 1 or 2, some of the features that I might talk about later may not exist. Or if you're using like Clip Studio Pro or free trial, it might not work for you. I do know some things like liquify or the color mixing may work a little differently on Pro and free trial, but if you guys have any problems, or if you can't do it but you really want to find a workaround, you can let me know, because I do know some tricks that I've picked up from using other programs over the years, like from Photoshop and from like Paint Tool SAI and Procreate. So yeah, if you guys like need to know like, oh, what's the equivalent of doing this on this other program, I can probably help you like figure out what it is, because yeah, I do have experience using like a bunch of other programs here, and I think Kura knows as well. Yeah, some of you guys are familiar with it too. So okay, let me start here. When you first open Clip Studio, what you want to see is that you have your toolbar on the left side. This is where all the main tools that you need will be listed, okay? And I think for most programs, your toolbar is usually on the same side. But the difference for Clip Studio is that they have tools and then they have subtools. So what you see here, like this, on this left side, there's this like window open here. You see like subtool pen or subtool property. So these are basically your tools, and it's I would kind of term it like they're folders. So you can have different categories of the same tool. So for example, your pencil over here, let me make it a little bit bigger. So your pencil over here has pencil and then pastel, and these are default Clip Studio brushes that you have. It's just up to you, like your own comfort level, like what you want to use and stuff like that. Hi Sukiwi, hello. Yeah, I'm going through the toolbar first. I'm just gonna do like very quick introduction of everything. And I think like for anything that's in your toolbar, once you click on it, you're gonna see like a bunch of like subtool stuff that would appear. And I wouldn't be too intimidated by them, because essentially they're just slight variants of the same tool. So for example, you have zoom in, zoom out. This is quite explanatory. I don't ever use the zoom in, zoom out tool. What I do is I just use my mouse wheel and I just do this because it's way easier. Some people may have a tablet with like a rocker ring, so like you can like zoom in and zoom out from there too. So I think that's a lot more convenient than using this tool. You never use it manually. You have move and rotate. This one too, you will never probably click on it because you're going to use spacebar. You can be on any other tool. You hit spacebar. This is the move tool. You press and hold. Ginyan start in Pokemon Endgame. He's bad then. Why did he start? He knows I'm gonna start this like this timing. Okay, but anyway, he can go and watch the VOD later. Yeah. So yeah, when you want to move the canvas around, you can just press and hold spacebar, and then you can just do this already. You never need to use the hand tool. Hey Dante, hi. I'm going through like the basic like shortcuts and like tools that you have in your toolbar. You didn't know that? Yeah. So this is how I move my canvas around, like really like very conveniently actually. If you want to rotate, what you want to do is you press R, you press and hold R, and you can see that the cursor has changed to this like arrow thing. Now you can just like click and you can just like rotate your canvas anyhow. Like any way you want. And let's say it's at this angle and you're trying to like, you know, reset it back, but somehow you can't get it like fully aligned back to like the main orientation. You can just double click it and it resets back. So it's you don't have to use like anything like on this side on the navigator either. You can just press and hold R, rotate, and then once you want to go back to the normal orientation, double click, and you're done. So other things, in the next one, you have the operation tools. So operation tools, I'll touch on that later once we have something on the layer, because that will make more sense. So let's skip that for now. This fucking music, give me a second, let me... I need to turn that down. Okay, so we have our lasso tools, basically. So if you guys know what lasso tool is, it helps you select parts of your drawing. So for example, like I draw anything here. Okay, and let's say I don't like where the position of the eye is. Of course, lasso tool, you just select around the area you want to move, and then you move it. Yeah. And you have other tools as well. You have rectangle, obviously, ellipse. You have polyline. Polyline is great if you're doing anything that's well, it has sharp edges and like straight lines, because you can just do this and you get a very clean selection. What I like to do with polyline is like let's say I need something like a rectangle, but one of the sides, like it can be like a slant instead. So if I want to select like this, but for example the left side, I want it to be slightly slanted because I'm following like maybe a guideline or something like that, I use polyline instead. So what I do is I can tap here, I can make it slant however I want, and then if I want this to be straight, like really like parallel to like the canvas, I can just hold shift and it'll straighten it out for me. Like it goes into like very specific angles. I'm not sure you guys can see it snapping, but it snaps to I think 0, 45, 90, and like yeah, all around. It's in 45-degree angle snaps. Yeah, so you can do this, and if I want to end it, well, obviously this wouldn't match up because it's not the same, but usually you will see this like tiny circle at the cursor. I know it's a bit hard to see, but you can just close it, and yeah, there you go. There are selection pens. So selection pens are essentially, I'm not sure if anyone here used Pin2Sci, but your selection pen works like this. So wherever the green area is covering is where you are going to select it. So some people prefer to use this, some people prefer to use the lasso, but I do prefer the lasso. For erase selection, I don't use this because honestly, like, what's the point? Sorry. Okay, no, never mind. If you're using the selection point, the pen like this, and let's say you have an area already selected, you want to inverse it, you can use this erase selection. You can do this, you know, you can like wipe out like areas that you have selected. Personally, I don't need this. You know why? Because let's say you're using the lasso tool, and you're like, ah shit, I don't want the mouth selected. I only want everything but the mouth. What you can do is you can press Alt on your keyboard, and your lasso tool will appear to have like a minus sign. You just press and hold, you just do this, and now you have deselected your mouth. So if you want to add it back in, you press Shift, and you just cover the area again. So pretty easy. You can always just add and like subtract like selected areas using the Shift and Alt. So it's pretty convenient. You don't really have to like always click on this on these like tools, because I do know that if you use it on let's say using an iPad or use the mobile version of Clip Studio, you won't be able to see the entire bar, the entire toolbar. So usually these few some of these tools, you can choose to put it at the bottom or choose to like just delete them or hide them, so you don't have to, you know, take up like screen space, because screen space typically is the problem when it comes to like your drawing tablets that are mobile. Yeah, you can also download new selection tools. For example, I do have this thing where it immediately fills in wherever I select. So for example, it works exactly like the lasso tool, but wherever I circle, it will immediately fill it. So this is normally how I color most of my stuff. Like let's say I just want the mouth to be colored, instead of using the brush and like going and like doing this, I just use this special thing that I downloaded. I just lasso it and it immediately fills up. So yeah, you have a bunch of interesting things that you can play with. There is this very cool tool. I can link it afterwards if you guys are interested in like these like special lasso tools. It will fill up any enclosed area. I don't have to be exact. So for example, like I want to color in the mouth again, right? This tool allows me to just circle roughly around the mouth, and it fills it in. And the cool thing about it is that if you think about it, I am on a different layer. Okay. So any enclosed area, anyone. This is my first layer. I was on my second layer, and it referenced my line art. So I think this is very convenient for anyone who wants to do like quick fills. For me, when my workflow requires me to fill in a lot of line art, and this is like one of like the best ways you can get it done. Yeah. But this is like a DLC content, okay? You can download this for free on like the Clip Studio Asset Store. I will take you shopping later on some of the tools that I really love, but let's like do it like after we're done with most of the stuff. Okay. For more selection tools, you also have the common magic wand tool. People who use Photoshop, you know this. You have subtools for the magic wand. You can refer to editing layer only. So basically, if I'm on my line art layer and I press this, it will select wherever I wish it to select on my line art layer. If I want it to refer to other layers, so for example, let me okay, so for example, I want it to be on my... Sorry, I'm not used to this layout. Okay, I'm going through the basic layout. This is what you would normally see when you start up Clip Studio. So let's say if I draw something silly. Let's give it a bow, okay? Yeah. So if I use refer to all layers, what I'm gonna select will involve like all the other layers that are available. So you see, it's like now selecting a little weirdly. And normally I wouldn't use this kind of this subtool because it's very specific use cases, and normally you have other methods to go about it. I'm not gonna go through the last one because I don't really use it. I don't really know what's the specific use case for it. So my bad, but yeah, not very useful. A lot of these things probably need you to like trial and error with them before you really get the hang of like using them, or like realizing like, oh yeah, there's this thing that exists and then I want to use it. It takes a while. Okay, so color picker. Straightforward. Everyone knows what a color picker is. You want to pick a color. You can just like, yeah, you can see that the color below here in the bottom left, it's changing where I click it. Yep. If I'm not wrong, there was a tool that allowed you to pick outside of the program, but I think that's a downloaded tool. You would see here like there's like the tool property, right? There is like a thing where you can like reference like what's on the top layer, what's the image, or what's the current layer. So this current layer, there is nothing here. So if I pick here, it will show up as empty. So it won't have any colors. But if I use the top layer and I pick on this, it will show me the blue because that's what's on top. Image is just everything. It references all the different layers that you have. So this is the one that I'll normally leave it on because, for example, you have let me do a quick paint. Hi Rin! Hello! It's very ad hoc. I'm doing this as I go. I didn't really put too much thought into it. I just wanted to help some friends figure out like what works for them and what doesn't. If you guys have any questions at any point in time, just feel free to ask, you know. Okay, so let's say I have this layer with the red here, and I have like a layer effect on it. So like maybe I have this like blue, or I changed it a little bit, and I want this color, this new color that has appeared is like this orangey red color. When you use the color picker on image, you can grab that color and you can paint it like anywhere else that you wish to. But if you have it on, like let's say I'm on like that layer, and let's say my color picker is set to top layer, it will only pick wherever is on top. So it's basically that ugly ass yellow that I used on the soft light layer. So it won't be the orange that you're getting. So that's the difference. Current layer, obviously it would be this. However, this is very useful if, let's say, you have been painting with. Let me try to think of like a situation. Okay, so let's say I'm painting a skin color. Okay, I'm painting a skin color, and what I want to do is, if I'm using like a multiply layer and I'm using like a different color, okay, so I'm using maybe this color and I'm getting this shade color, and then oh no, I accidentally picked a color that is, I accidentally picked this color, and now when I paint over it, it's gonna be darker, a different shade, because the multiply layer works differently from like a normal layer. So what do I want to do? I can change it back to normal. I can color pick this tone again and then go back to multiply, right? To get back that color. But that is so much work. What I want to do is I can go to color pick. I can go to current layer. I do this instead. So I don't have to keep switching between like multiply and like the normal like effect layer. I'm not sure if this is making any sense, but like if you're already using this program a little bit much, I'm sure you've run into this problem before. when you play with like your layer effects and stuff. Personally for me, that this was a big game changer. But I think most people who are starting out, you won't really run into this issue. So if this doesn't make sense to you, it's completely fine. Yeah. Okay. So moving on. Next tool, you have the move layer. Very simply, whatever layer you're on, you can just click on it. You move. You don't have to click on the part that's colored itself. You can click anywhere and you move. Move grid, move tone pattern. You'll not use it unless you're using a pattern or a grid, so I won't go through it. So that is for your the basic tools, like the manipulating tools, what I would call it, not like the drawing tools. So those there are variants that are available for download on the Clip Studio Asset Store, which makes your life way easier. You can search their subcategories on the asset store, and it will show you like a lot of different kinds that might suit your needs. If you ever think of like something like, oh, this could be so much easier if I could do this, it's worth a shot checking the Clip Studio Asset Store, because someone may have thought about the same thing and made it. So yeah, you might not need to suffer for that long. Very helpful. Photoshop doesn't have that. Yeah, you get me. This is why I fucking love Clip Studio Paint. Okay, so let's come to the tools. Okay. Tool wise, typically you will see pencil, pen, and brush, and then you have the decoration brush, airbrush, and your rulers. I would say that this categorization is only necessary if you are very particular, like you have a bit of OCD, right? You are very particular about where your tools are stored. Because actually what you can do is, like, let's say you have a pen that you really like from the Clip Studio Asset Store. What you can do is you can just download it, you can drag it to any folder, and it will still show up. You can still use the tool. You don't need it to be in the correct folder. If you've ever wondered, like, shit, I downloaded this one really nice marker looking brush from the asset store, and I'm like, what category do I place it in? Will it still work the way it does? It will. You don't have to care which category. I have pens in the brush folder, and I have brushes in the pencil folder. And yeah, it's a mess, but like it's where I know where I keep my things. I'm the kind of person who, like, I generally know where I keep my things. So as long as like it's in that general category, I can find it. So I'm not particular about where I put things. But for example, if you look over here, this is my brush. This is my brush tool, right? But the subtools, there are many different folders. You can create these, by the way. There are different folders that you can create for your brushes. Obviously, this is mine. This is my default. I didn't even change. Honestly, I should put it in front. Okay, so I'm shifting it here. But you see, these are brushes, brush, and then I have a selection tool. So this is basically the same as the lasso fill tool that I downloaded earlier, but in this category. It works. You don't need it to be in their proper like tool categories. As long as it makes it easier for you to access, I would throw like all the ones that I commonly use for my illustrations into one folder and just leave it as that. So you don't have to waste your time and like, oh yes, it is time for me to start rendering. What do I do? And then I go through every single folder and then look for like the brush. You don't need to do that. If you know that you're gonna default to some brushes, just throw it into the same folder and then you're done. You don't have to go and look for it. So like you guys know, like I like textures. So I have like my texture brush in this folder. I have like this like dot thing you can see. I even have this gold brush to create like gold textures like wherever I need, like let's say I need to line like a collar or like a piece of like clothing or whatever. Yeah, I also have like these sort of like weird like textures. and normally I use it on clothes. It's all in the same. It's all in the same folder. You don't have to care. Okay, so the only other time I do have like a separate folder is, for example, I like to do backgrounds with different kinds of brushes. So I have this brush pack downloaded. It's by Jeremy Fensky. Not sure how to pronounce his name, but you can find this for free online. He has a lot of very, very good texture brushes for you to use. Let's say you want to get into background painting, or you want to edit something to look a bit more natural. If you're doing like photo editing, you want to edit like I don't know, maybe some grass or some dirt onto something. This is a pretty good brush pack for you to use. For those who are like coming in from like Photoshop and you're a bit like, like I really like Photoshop's textured brushes. Don't worry, this brush pack will save you and will solve all your problems. Yeah. So I personally like to like explore and like try out different brushes when I'm starting on new things. It's not great for like style consistency, but you know what? Who cares? Yeah. Also, since we're here, let me show you some things. So right below all of your subtools, all your different brushes, you have this thing called the tool property. Okay. So the tool property, what you can do here is you can change your brush size. Personally, I don't use this because you can either use this like over here. I just pulled it out from underneath here so you can see it, but like you can do this and it will change your brush size. There's a new thing that they added. I'm not sure if it's part of the new update, but you can. There is a slider that pops out for you. Hold on. I don't use it yet. Is it this? No. Sorry. Figuring things out as I go. Brush size. Okay, some of you may have seen it before, but it kind of looks like this, but it's a slider instead. You can use that too, but personally, I don't change my brush size like by the numeral. I don't like to do that. I have a shortcut on my keyboard. So I use 1 to like reduce the size of my brush, and I use 2 to increase the size of my brush. So it becomes more instinctual. I don't really look for the sizes here because honestly, especially if you're using like iPad or you're using a smaller device, you don't want to waste space on your screen just for brush sizes. And doing this is kind of annoying too. It doesn't use yeah, I think the default would be the square brackets. But I changed to 1 and 2 because it's accessible with my left hand. I'm a right-hander, so having it on like the other side of the keyboard is a little bit too far for me. And if you are like trying to like, you know, when you're locked in, right? I would have to snap out of looking at my screen and like look at my keyboard to try to like find the 2 brackets because it's in the middle of all the different keys. It's not very intuitive. So I like putting it on like the common shortcuts that I use on the left side of my keyboard. So I've kind of rebinded a lot of things. You can easily do that with like if you go to preferences, if I'm not wrong. Is it preferences? Hold on. Shortcut keys. So you go to file, shortcut keys. Yeah, you can just set a bunch. Yeah. But yes, I like doing that rather than using any of this. So typically I would just throw this out of my workspace. I don't have it on at all. So, but let's say you're on iPad and you don't have any shortcut keys, like you don't use a keyboard with the iPad, then maybe having it will be good. So brush size. But what I would do is, instead of having it like a long, like over here, because by default it's like here, right? It takes up so much space, right? What I would do, I would just put it at the side, and I'll minimize it till it's like a singular line, so that this way you don't take up too much space. You have more canvas size to play with, rather than like just like all the UI taking up so much space. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to. Let me get rid of this. I hate it so much. Personal peeve. I don't like it. Over here. This looks scary. I know, but over here you can change a lot of things with the brushes that you use. And personally, I don't tweak it too much because in the off chance I do lose this version of CSP and my settings are gone for the brushes that I've been using, I'm very sensitive to like minor changes in the brushes and the tools that I have, because you know I've been using for so long to the point where like if it just feels a bit off, I feel like I can't draw. So maybe that's just a me thing, but I don't like it when they're too fine a tweak to the point where I need to have very specific versions of tools. I'd rather just have like a downloadable somewhere that I can just like download back, and yeah, I know that it will work the way that I want it to. So the most I would touch is the opacity. So this brush is meant to mimic the Photoshop default round brush, and because I migrated from Photoshop to Clip Studio, so I do have this on hand most of the time, and my personal favorite actually. So I like to sketch with this, and then it builds up slowly. I'm not sure you guys can see it. Let me make it bigger. Let me get rid of this. Goodbye, Smiley. So you can do this, and you can layer it. So it creates a more... if you have used like marker pens, or... well, I guess some pencils do work the same way, but this has a similar feel to using a marker. And what I like about this is that I don't know, it just feels very freeing sometimes. It's lighter, even though this is like at full black, by the way. Let me pull out the color wheel. So this is at black, and I can just sort of layer it. It's good for rendering too. I sometimes, for a cleaner look, I use this to render like my drawings and stuff. You can even add like, you know, base colors. You want to figure out values, this is a great brush to use. Yeah. So you want to use that for opacity, stuff like this. Amount of paint, density of paint, and color stretch, I think they are more relevant to the thick paint default CSP brushes. Not a lot of like downloader brushes use these. So for example, I'm on this like round mixing brush thing. So let's say if I reduce the amount of paint, I think it's supposed to give less paint. Oh yes. So for example, I've painted this amount of like black. So if I want to paint with blue, I can do it beside it, but if it's directly on it, do you see how long it takes for me to build up the blue? That's what they mean by the amount of paint. And if you fool around with these sliders, it basically just like you can tweak it to feel more like actual like traditional painting. So if you're into this kind of tinkering, if you are a traditional painter and you are trying to find your way into digital art, this works. Paint Tool SAI does this a lot, and I used to rely on this a lot as well, because I went from traditional painting to watercolor, gouache painting, and then I started using Paint Tool SAI, and then Photoshop, and then this is the kind of brush I can. Yeah, it used to come more naturally to me, but nowadays I just feel like it's a waste of time. I don't use it anymore unless I am really going for like a certain kind of texture. Like I want this kind of like mixing, then it makes sense to do it, right? Otherwise, like why I want to waste time trying to build up this kind of pigment, right? Color stretch is basically how long it will like last if you drag like the thing off, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, lots of sliders to play with. I won't go into detail. It's really based on like your comfort levels and where you're coming from. If you're really like, you really love the traditional painting style, try using this. I think it's great. But if you're really just here to fuck around, then sure. Do you double up the amount of paint? Do you up the amount of paint to disable this? Oh, for most of the brushes, they don't even have it. Like, if I'm not wrong, if you go into like the sub tool details, so how did I bring this thing up is, if you look at the bottom right of the tool property, you can come here. And if I'm not wrong, these are all the different settings that you can enable and disable. And I think a lot of it, for example, like this, you can actually like, some brushes have it enabled and some have it disabled. So you can like tweak it further even here. Like, there are a lot of small details that you can set. You can even change like the brush color. Like, it can vary a little bit and stuff like that, you know. Let's say you want different kinds of like different colored flowers and you have like a specific flower brush. You can change the color of each flower being painted just by tweaking something in the brush tool settings. You don't have to change the color of each individual flower. Let me see if I can like do something about that. I do have a couple of decoration brushes that we can play with. Okay, let me change. Okay, yeah, so let's see. This is it. Change brush tip color. Oh, this might be a bad one to play with. Let's see. I'm trying to find one without an outline, because I think it works better with those without an outline. Some brushes, they do come with this where, if you see like, typically you have two colors selected, right? Where you can like alternate between them if you press X. What some brushes have is that it has a dual channel. So the outline is your first color, the top color, and your fill is the second color. So I have black selected as like the outline now and like pink selected as the main. So if I'm paint like this, it will turn out like that, right? Like, let's say if I change the top color that's selected like to white, it will paint like this instead. There are also some brushes that just don't have this at all. I think it's within the settings. I've never really like bothered going into it to try to tweak it because I don't. Is what I mean by like, yeah, having it too specific can just make it a bit harder. So what I mean earlier, like you want your color to vary within the same brush stroke. So let's say you're painting a cloud, okay? I'm gonna select kind of like a light blue, but I'll make it a bit more saturated so you guys can see it. So if I want to change the hue, like hue is basically I want it to go more green or more blue, I can toggle this and it will like, I'm not sure you guys can see it, but I'll get varying cloud colors with my stroke. Okay, if I want it to be like less saturated, I can do this, and the saturation will vary. Luminosity, if I want it brighter, darker, I can do this too. So you can bump the saturation down, up, blah blah blah. You can get really funky cloud colors. I would say use this with caution because it can make things look a bit, you know, the colors don't quite match up very well, color theory and all of that. But it's a cool thing to have. It's a cool thing to have. You can also randomize per stroke. You can, if I'm not wrong, if you use this instead, what happens is that one stroke will be one color and then the next stroke will be a different color, instead of everything happening with like within the single stroke. So like this is like one stroke, this is one per stroke. Yeah. So it may save you time, it may not save you time, you know, but it's up to you. It's up to you. There's a lot to play with. Anti-aliasing is basically how the edges are controlled, how blended in it looks in layman terms. So you can have something that looks very pixelated. It might for a brush, it may be because the anti-aliasing, I can't pronounce it, is set to none. So you get really, really pixelated looking brushes. And sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't really like it. It depends. For example, I do have this brush. I'm not sure you can see it. Oh, it's pretty smooth now. Oh, yep, this one. This one has none of the anti-aliasing. But if you use this one, you can see it's a lot smoother. So that's what it is. If you ever see like the term anti-aliasing pop up, it's usually the edges and how blended in it is or how smooth it is. Yeah, sometimes I think other tools they have it as well, but we'll get to that if I remember where they are. So it's pretty cool, very fun. This is the same for a lot of the different like sub tools. Let's say you're very used to drawing on Procreate. Okay, so Procreate people, you enjoyers, you love the stability of being able to write on Procreate. It feels a lot smoother, it feels a lot nicer to write on Procreate because it has stability. So stability is something that is default, I think. Typically default for a lot of mobile programs, because generally it's harder to get a smoother stroke when you're on mobile. If you're drawing with your finger or you're drawing with like some pens, it's not as smooth as drawing with like a dedicated tablet. So stabilization is like a really important thing. But for Clip Studio, some brushes may not have stabilization at all. So for example, you guys are looking at my favorite pencil, and I just realized that you guys probably can't see. Was it here? Can you see it? Oh yeah. So there's this bar in like the tool property called stabilization. So this allows me to really freehand like if I'm not very careful with my strokes, you can see a bit of the wiggle, right? Like this part. If I up the stabilization, no matter how much I wiggle, do you see how smooth it is? It's like unless you are like going through an earthquake, like your lines will be super smooth. So I think a lot of people who like to do very clean sort of line art with like one stroke, for example, you're trying to line a head or something like that. So let's undo all that. For example, you're trying to line a head and you want a really smooth looking chin or something like that. For me, I don't really work with stabilization sometimes, but like, like this is okay for me, right? Like it's like pretty normal. But I know some people who are not as comfortable with this kind of strokes may tend to be like, ah shit, like, ah man, it's kind of rough. Stabilization will help you. You can turn it on, and then no matter what you do, it's gonna look like smooth. The thing I don't like about that stabilization is that if you want to have very specific angles, and let's say you want more control over your line, it's more often than not you're gonna fight stabilization instead of it helping you. So yeah, try to weigh it out, see where's your comfort spot. I like to go between like maybe about like a 6 to maybe about 20. I never push it all the way up to 100. So yeah, it's really up to personal preference and how comfortable you are with using your pen tablet. So that's on the stabilization. Let's see what else there is. Texture density. It basically is, this brush has a texture applied to it. So texture density will just change how much the texture is applied. So let's say this is at 1. Oh, no, not brush density. This is at 1 and this is at 100. So you can see that there's like a very stark difference. If you want to create more rough looking stuff, yeah, you can use this. You can use the mechanical pencil or whatever. It has this texture going for it. It really looks like an actual pencil kind of texture. I know a bunch of other ones here have it too. Some of them may be in the form of particle size. So for example, this is called pointillism. So there's a lot of dots in there. You can change the size of each particle. Oh dear. So you see it's not as dotted anymore. You have thickness of it. So basically how spaced out, I think. Oh no, particle density is basically how spaced out it is. So like on one it's like it's kind of like that. On like the maximum is really thick. I think thickness is just of like the particle itself, like how fat they are. So there's a bunch of little sliders per brush. Always good to look at the two properties to see what kind of brush it is. You can kind of tell whether it's meant to be more clean or more brush strokey, and this will affect how your illustration will turn out. Yeah, what else? So for, let's say you want patterns, you can make your own pattern brushes. So like this, like you want to create this kind of stuff, or I have one brush that I made myself. Wait, that's too big. Yeah, I do play with this brush sometimes. It's good. I still use it. I do. So like I don't use it that big, of course. Like I use it as a texture, okay? So which art? I don't remember. It's like sometimes like if you see something really small like this, it's not. Also, hello, welcome to chat. Welcome to the stream. Hi, Ginya. Thanks for the raid. Oh my god, you're late for class, Ginya. Hey. Like, hold on, let me just do the normal. Yeah, he said sorry for that. I don't care. He gotta say it straight to my face. It's a nice texture, right? Yeah. So if like sometimes I need just a bit of noise, like for example, I have a very clean, let's see, I have like a very clean look to it. Sorry, you're a crying mess right now. Okay. Yeah, and the ZA. Okay. Oh, well, sorry, that's very small. Let me make it bigger. Yeah, don't go protecting him, okay? He knew that this was happening at this hour. You may or may not get a refresher later. See how I'm feeling. Yeah, no, we all know this is not the first video game that we've played. Guys, stop defending him, I'm not actually angry, don't worry about it. But he also needs to know. Good lord. Thankfully, I did not get jump scared. Try again. Let me see, where's my Amogus brush? Okay, this is where I start to get lost in the sauce. Give me a second. Also, I need to tell you, like, if you ever lose your, like, if you look at your toolbar, right? If you look at it very closely right now, maybe I should screenshot it and show it to you guys so it's a lot bigger. Okay, let's paste it into Clip Studio. So right now, you can see that my tools are a pencil. Oh dear. So I have a pencil, a pen, and why do I have like 2 airbrushes? Right? And what is this? Like what, like where is it going? Like what is this? Like you have not seen it before. Like it's not on the default. So what happens is that, you know, earlier I said, like, you know, for convenience sake, just throw all your usual brushes into one folder because it will work no matter which folder you're gonna throw it into. This is what happens, okay? So the downside to it is that this categorization might start to confuse you because depending on which tool you're selected, like let's say right now I'm on like this flat brush tool that I typically use, it is actually registered as an airbrush. So like this, like apparently this is considered an airbrush. It depends on who creates the material or who creates the brush. If they decide that, hey, this is going to be more of an airbrush than a normal brush, I'm going to put it in an airbrush category. So once you click on it, it will change your tool, like on the toolbar, to have this icon of your active subtool. If I click on something like the round opacity Photoshop brush over here, it changes it back to the normal like brush. Nothing in the categories change. Like none of it actually changes. Don't worry about it. It's just each individual brush that you have has its own category, and it will just change the icon based on which is active. So don't worry about it. It doesn't actually change anything. Your stuff is all there. You just need to be aware, like, okay, like the 4th icon on my toolbar is my decorations. So all my sparkles and everything, it's just gonna be like decorations, alright? Patterns or whatever. Like, you can see like the icon keeps changing. Like some of them, when you have a pattern brush, it comes out as the pattern icon instead. You have like, you know, the flower brush, you can see that the flower icon like comes here instead. Each of them has their own little like icon. It's meant to actually help you like, well, remember which tool is active, but honestly speaking, it may not work for everyone, and I don't think it's very important. I don't really care what it looks like. As long as I can find it later, it's good enough. But there have been situations where I just can't find my brush because, for example, I'm over here and I'm like, oh, I want to draw an ellipse with the ellipse tool. So, you know, like the typical ellipse tool thing. But then the previous active tool that I was using was like one of these. Like, for example, the speed lines. I'm not sure you guys know. So like you can generate speed lines like this. So the icon was different, and I was like, where the hell did my ellipse tool go? Did I uninstall it? Did I delete it? No, don't worry about it. It's just here. It's this is why familiarizing yourself with like the base tools first is important before you go in and like tinker around with all the sub tool folders and stuff like that. It's happened to me, but usually don't worry, is there somewhere. You just need to kind of click in and check your sub tools. Also, hey Tetsu, welcome. So we're currently talking about like mainly like the drawing tools. I've already covered like the object tools in a sense, but they aren't too difficult actually. A lot of them are basically what you find in Photoshop as well. It's just some of them have more convenient things like the eyedropper, like the color picker. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I would like to say one thing though about Clip Studio that is very, very helpful. So you know how many brushes there are, and sometimes you're using a very specific texture. So for example, I love using this brush, and you can kind of see that it has a bit of an outline, and there's like a bit of like a dotted like a texture fade to the side. The brush tip itself looks like this. Okay, so Oh no, Tetsu, we haven't covered that yet, but like don't worry about it. I'll cover it later if you. The object tools are slightly different. Yeah. It's the ones at the top, not the ones at the bottom yet. Okay, so we have this, right? And let's say you want to use the eraser, and you're gonna do this, and it's like, sheesh, that looks fucking ugly, right? Like, it's really jarring when you try to erase something from this, and it's obviously a different brush. It doesn't look natural, right? And then what you want to do afterwards is like, maybe you go in and be like, oh yeah, you know what? Let me just try to repaint that so it doesn't look as like, jarring. And yeah, it doesn't look good. What you can do is, I'm not sure you guys can see it, but you know where the colors are? Like the two colors, so you can see like the pink and the blue on the left side. It should be right beside my chat box. There's this thing that looks like the transparency. You can click on it, and what it does is that it acts as an eraser with the current brush that you're using. So you don't actually need to use the eraser tool at all. Like, the eraser tool can be obsolete if you want it to be, because you can paint with transparency, and it will only affect your current layer, like whatever layer you're on. Yeah. So for example, like I'm currently on transparency. I can carve into my layer. This is not an eraser brush, this is transparency. And like, if you want to see how it is like underneath, if I paint it black, you can see that, yeah, it's transparent. So this makes every single brush that you have in like your main, like let's say about 5 tools here in your toolbar, you can change it into like an eraser at any point in time. Photoshop, please up your game. Adobe will never listen. Give up on them. What the fuck am I listening to? What? Why is it constantly falling? But anyway. So, but if you still want to use the eraser, of course, it exists. We have different erasers, and I think one of the most... Sorry, I got silver gunnered. One of the most useful erasers here is the vector eraser. So there is the existence of vector layers in Clip Studio Paint, and I was hoping Ginyan would be here by the time I covered this, and thankfully you're here. You're still here, right? Yeah, vector layers exist in Clip Studio Paint, and the vector eraser comes in really, really handy. So where you want to find the vector layer is basically over here on the right side. I think my head is blocking it. Usually you click on this to create a new layer, like a normal layer. It says new raster layer, so that's the one we usually use in like raster art, right? But one vector is right beside it. You have to create a vector layer. It will work like a raster layer should, but it has this this white icon. If you can see it, I'm like moving my mouse around it. It has a white icon over there. Too bad I turned it down. Not today. I'll try not to respond too much to like the redeems, because we are supposed to be teaching here. Okay, so basically any brush you use, not just the clean ones, okay? Not just the clean ones, but even the textured ones. So let's say I use this. These are vector. And let's say you want to edit it a little bit. Like you want to use the eraser on it, you can. So there are actually invisible points that you can't see. And what you want to do is, let's say you go to... You have different types of, man, how do I put this? So, as you can see, if I use this first one, this is a normal eraser, okay? So wherever I just mouse over, it will erase it like by the point. I'm not sure you can see it. like I'm erasing it by the point. There's an invisible point that I'm just erasing from. So you can kind of tell that it's snaking its way so that the texture of the brush like completes itself. Which is pretty fun for some people. But there's another thing that people really love about vector layers is that, for example, I'm drawing a face, right? Okay, so I have a face here. Let's see. And I have eyes. Oh. Sorry, it's not gonna be the best face. And then I have like hair. Blah blah. Okay. So let's say I want to erase this part because, you know, obviously this part is being covered by the hair, the eyebrow is being covered by the hair. You don't want to see the eyebrow? You can go to your eraser tool, the vector eraser, and you click, if I'm not wrong, it's this one. No, it's not. My bad. Oh yes, it's the second option. So you can erase up to intersection. So where two vector lines touch, it was section off that vector. Yeah, it's like a cutout. You can do that. So if I want to erase this, oops, just make sure you touch the correct line. And let's say I want to erase that. Yeah, is there? Erase that. Is there? Yeah, you can do that. So this is where vector layers come in so powerful. It's great for line art. It's really good. And let's say, well, I'm diverting away from the eraser tool now, but I can go into vector layers real quick. But let me just finish like the erasers. So you have the vector eraser. You have multiple layers. So for example, like for example, now I have like 4 layers over here. I want to erase through everything. I can use the multiple layers, and you just clean off everything from all the layers. This is very specific use case. Most of the time I don't use it. What is snap eraser? I never use snap eraser. My weakness. I don't know what this is. But it's okay, you can go and find out. I'm very used to using the transparency and the vector eraser. I don't use anything else actually. Unless I really want to get very specific kind of like thing, but yeah. Okay, so vector layers, you guys are excited about it. Let me show you the wonders of a vector layer, okay? So let me use a clean line for your reference. Let's say, let me bring out an old drawing and I'll line art for you over here, and you can see how it works. Let me find something. Is there anything that I did not complete? We should have a lot. Let me go through my whips and make sure it's not simple work. I have so many sketches. Where are my whips? Oh, suddenly today is like I don't have any whips, which is impossible. I should have a lot of whips. What's happening? Okay, this one. Alright, I never finished this. Does vector layer work different with brushes, or are they like vector brushes? All of the brushes you can use with vector layers. Every single brush. Okay, so let's say I want to be stupid and I want to outline with, I don't know, I want to line with this. I can. It's in vector actually. Oh, sorry. Let me create a vector layer first. Just make sure that it's in a vector layer. So you want a line of this? It's a vector layer. Okay. And there is this tool called the correct line tool. It may be rearranged by me, but it should be right above your colors. What you can do here is that you can pinch the vector line. You can shift it any way you want. You can just drag it like that. Okay. And you can even adjust the line width. So for example, right now, I can set it to thicken. So if I want the line width to be thicker, I can just make sure that this brush, like the size, is covering which area I want it to be thicker. And basically what it does is that it selects the point closest to where your brush covers, and it will make the line thicker. So you can see, like I'm clicking a lot, it's making it really thick. Okay, so in a practical sense, let's just not use this stupid let's not use this stupid brush. Let's use an actual brush that I would line with. Let me find it. So I go to mine and I do. Okay, I do like lining with this pen. This is my favorite at the moment. Okay, so I'm still on the vector layer. And let me just do it all in one stroke, so it's a bit more fair. Okay. And okay, so right now you can see that there's a clear difference in the line weight. So for the eyelashes on top here, because I went over it a couple of times, it's a lot thicker, but on this side it's lacking, right? So what you can do is you can go here, use the correct line tool, make sure it's thicken. You can change the amount of pixels that you wish for it to thicken up by per stroke. But let's say if I'm just going by 1, you see it? Do you see it getting thicker already? So this reduces the need for you to go over multiple times and try to thicken up lines. And it just makes it a lot easier for you to like, because at the end of the day, vector lines take up a lot of processing power. So if you do it like what you would do traditionally with raster, what you're doing is you're creating a lot of invisible data on each line you draw over it. So to kind of like counter, to circumvent that problem, you just have to fix the line width. Yeah, so you can narrow it as well. Make it narrow. Yeah, I can do it on this side as well. Can make it narrow by over here. Make it so that it's like kind of like this. I typically don't use scale up width or scale down width, but basically this, if I'm not wrong, this sets the width. Oh no, it doesn't. I don't use the others, but I really like to use the thicken and the narrow because it's the most practical to me. Fixed width, what is this? Okay, fixed width is the one that if you want everything to be of the same thickness, you want uniformity. Let's say you're going for a very clean graphic illustration kind of look, I think fixed width would be the best for you to use. But in most cases, when you're working on illustrations and stuff, you don't really want to use fixed width. You want to use like the thicken and the narrow. Yeah, correct. So you want to have this once you're done. Like let's say you want to control the individual points. If you want to see what I mean by like all the vector layers and lines, do you see how many this is? Because I was repeating the lines. Do you see all the points that were generated with it? I could just select this and just move it out. By the way, like let's say I'm not happy with like the positioning of the line. Like I can extend this if I wanted to. So yeah, I can make it a little bit more. I can also add points between, by the way. So if you mouse over to a part that has no dot, you can add a point. So can I clean up the points? I think you can simplify it actually. There's a simplify vector line thing here. I think this is what it does. You see, it's removing all of the points. So let's see. Control point, this has like 1, 2, 3, 4 in between points. Let's see what it does. Simplify vector line, and let's look at it. Yep, it's just 1. It's just 1 point now. So that's what it does. Smoothen. I think that was the one. If you use simplify vector line, that is what it does. If they have anchor points. Let's see. If I use object, so this is where the operation tool comes in. So earlier I was saying like let's skip it because it's not very viable, but now I can explain what operation does. So it selects singular objects, and each vector line, anything that's like vector, is an object. So you can just like select the lines and move them out. And if I'm not wrong, does it have a pivot or anchor? You can rotate them. And you can scale them, definitely. But I don't think that's an anchor. Probably not. However, I know that in Clip Studio 4.0, if you're using EX, I think, I'm not so sure if it's an EX or a Pro thing, but you can basically do puppet animation. So like pinning the bones of the illustration, and then you can like adjust the bones, all in Clip Studio. You don't have to go into After Effects to do it. You don't have to go into any of your animation software like Live 2D to do it. You can just do it in Clip Studio now, which is crazy. I haven't downloaded 4.0 yet, so I don't know how it works. I'm still on 3. So yeah. But yes, so lovely. If you're like, let's say you are in like do they have mesh? Mesh as in, is it the one where you can? Oh, I get what you mean. They don't really have. I think they do actually, because if you want to manipulate it, you need a mesh. You can change the amount of points within the mesh. I think you can't create the exact shape, but it's a general like square, I think, and then you can just like manipulate it. I think you can. Hi Kai. There are other tools. Okay, so let's move away from vector for now. It might come up again later. Okay. How's the arting? I need to give CSP a chance. Yeah, come to the bright side. Okay, guys. So, rulers. Rulers are great because let's say you have a big illustration with backgrounds and blah blah blah, and let's say you just want to in traditional sense, you just want a ruler for like one tiny part and you want to draw a straight line. You can just make a ruler. So you go to the ruler tool, linear ruler. You can create like a bunch of rulers actually. And what you can do is just use any brush and you will snap to it. You can snap to it. So now I'm like drawing the lines with whatever brush I want to use. For example, I want to use the triple line brush. I can also do that too. Look at how straight it is. Sorry. And once I don't want it, I can go to the layer. You guys can see it, but look at my head over here. You can right click it. Right click on this, the ruler icon here. And you can select to show ruler to hide it. Or you can just delete it, or you can link it to the layer itself. So that means every time I turn on and off the layer, the ruler will appear with it and disappear with it. You can select the ruler to also show in all layers. So let's say if I'm on a different layer and I still want to use the same ruler, I can check this over here and it would appear. So where this comes in really handy is, for example, all the rulers work the same way, by the way. So there are curve rulers, figure rulers. Figure rulers I've not really used at all. Ruler pen, not really used so far. But I would say that the most useful ones are the linear, curve, perspective, and symmetrical. So the first two and the last two. Let's say symmetrical ruler. So if you're into making VTuber models, wow, this is the best thing that you can have, because you want your faces to be symmetrical and everything like that, right? So so let's say on this layer I have a sketch of the body. Let's see. Honestly, I can bring up Ika maybe. I can bring up my own model. So I'm drawing like trying to get a symmetrical looking face. Okay. So cool thing is that you can move it around with your layer. So you never really lose the center unless you shift the art itself. But like I'm using like the normal move layer tool, it's not moving anywhere. If I use like control, by the way, if you want to move the layer, you don't really need to click on the move layer tool either. You can just press control, press and hold it, and you can click it, you can move it around. You just need to make sure that you are targeting the right layer. So for example, I am targeting this one, I can move the hit. If I want to move this one, I need to target it. But I don't have to switch layers at all. As long as I'm pressing control and I'm clicking on the correct thing, it will move the correct layer. So you want to shift this around, you can, no worries about it. And let's say I do a quick hit sketch. This will make sense in a bit, trust me, trust me. Okay. Let's say the ears here, and then you have the neck and whatever. And now I have the base. So let's say I have an accessory that I want to draw later on a different layer. So now I just created a new layer over here, right? But you can tell that the symmetrical ruler is gone. So how do I get it back? People might think, I need to realign and create a new symmetrical ruler. You don't have to do that. You can just go back to the previous layer, right click it, show in all layers, and then now when I go to the new layer, I can use it on the new layer. So what you can see here is that let me use a different pen. So let's say I'm doing the line art for this model, let's say. So now I can, it's perfectly centered, you don't need to shift it at all, nothing needs to move, blah blah. It's all great. And then let's say I need to draw something that's asymmetrical. I don't want the ruler to be there. Once again, right click it, click on show ruler, and now it's gone. So I can add the hair. And then I'm done. So you can really make the rulers work for you, and you don't have to delete them and recreate them all the time. They're conveniently just there. What I like to do is I like to keep one layer with, I use it as a reference layer for all my rulers. So all the rulers will be on that one layer, and then if I want to control them, I always go back to that same layer. So that works out for me. Also, for those who just came in not like when Ginya joined in, I haven't talked about workspace, and I have not talked about like the layer properties and like more of like the comic side of things or the animation side yet. So if you want to stick around, like you're in time for it, don't worry about it. Okay. Also, let's say you don't have a keyboard, and everyone knows that like you want to transform things. So very basic things, like you want to make things bigger, you want to make things smaller, right? You want to do this, okay? but you don't have a keyboard to press Control T, because Control T is like your base, and you think it's really annoying to keep going to edit and then finding transform and then free transform or scale or rotate or whatever. You don't have to do that because Clip Studio typically has like shortcuts here. And if I'm not wrong, you can actually add things to the shortcut, but I can't remember off the top of my head how to do that. But there's an icon here. You have scale and rotate right here. So you can always click this and you can scale and rotate it like immediately. You don't need to press Control T. This is more for like mobile users. Because not all the time you have like a keyboard like attached with you. So yeah, I think this is like rather useful. This is a side thing that I wanted to mention. You know, sometimes when you export a drawing or resize it, the line gets bad. So like vector help with that? Yes, it will. So if you know that you need to resize your entire drawing afterwards, it's better to do the lines in a vector layer. However, I need to say that never render or color your characters. If you are doing detailed rendering like I do, like for any of like for example, even something like this, okay? Even something like this, I will highly advise against using vector layer to color, because you're gonna create a lot of data points, you're gonna lag out your entire system. It's not worth it. It's the best if you do it for anything that's like that's geometrical or line art. Otherwise I wouldn't recommend it. Transform tool on top, save my eyes on iPad. Right. It's one of those things that like makes a hell of a difference. When you use the transform tool in Clip Studio Paint as well, right? Not say transform tool. You use the select tool. So earlier I was talking about like lasso tools and stuff. Is this correctly? So when you select certain parts, you see this bar that appears below here. These are incredibly useful shortcuts that you don't want to ignore. So like you have this, you have the deselect tool, so basically it just deselects the area that you want. You have crop. So you have crop that's here. This is to invert selected area. Invert selected area, one of your best friends, okay, in filling and like doing any sort of selection in Clip Studio. It's one of the best things. I'll show you why in a bit. You can expand selected area. So if you click on this, for example, you want to select maybe slightly outside of your line, maybe like 5 pixels. Like you have like you select let me see where, maybe I can show you with this. So for example, let me turn on the background. So I want to select the hands, okay? So I have the hands on the different layer, right? And I want to select the hands. Okay, let me just. So okay, so the hands now are selected in a sense, not the cleanest selection. But let's say I want to add like an outline to it. I can click on this, which is right at the bottom over here. Expand selected area. You can also access it via going to select menu and then expand or shrink selected area. This is just a shortcut. Both expand and shrink is over here. You can create it. Let's say I want 10 pixels. So now you can see that the selection is like outside of my hand by like 10 pixels. And if I want to create like a white, let's say a white background for the hands, I can just create a new layer with the selection still active. And what I can do, like you can see this bucket tool here, just select the color I want and fill. So now I have like a white like background. So people who want to make, for example, Telegram stickers, and you want to give it like a bit of like a background with an outline, and you don't want it to just be like on the line art itself or whatever, make a selection, just fill it in here. All the buttons are available from just like selecting something. You even have delete. So for example, damn, I really hate this area. I really don't want the hands. Okay, let's say I don't want this area that's like completely white underneath. Okay, so what I can try to do is I'll make a rough selection, alright? It's like, ah shit, I wish it's slightly closer. I don't need to be perfect, but it can be slightly closer. I can expand the selected area by 10, or let's say 20. So it's slightly closer, not the cleanest. And I want to delete it. I don't need to press delete if I don't have the delete key, because this appears on mobile as well. You can click on this. It's kind of like a sunburst kind of thing. And it'll delete it for you. Okay? And you still have the area that is currently being selected. You can also cut, paste, copy and paste, scale and rotate, which is the same as the icon of birth that I was talking about earlier, and fill, and you can add a tone. So tone, this is more for manga. So people work with the lasso tool and select tool a lot when it comes to manga creation with like tones, screen tones, because you use this tool. You just want to select an area, want to apply a quick tone. You can choose what kind of tones you want. You can have the line tone and everything. You have this as well. They are tiny flowers, by the way, but it looks like horse heads now. You can even change like the angle of it, so you can slide it around. It's like rotating. You can change the density. If you click on these like arrows, it brings out the slider. You don't have to adjust like the number. So you can make it like really tiny, very thick, whatsoever. You can even change the frequency of it. So it's kind of like density, I think. Yeah. So if someone making manga, it'd be good to use vector layers, like exporting and stuff. It depends, because if you're already familiar with the size of what you're printing, for example, I know I'm going to print it on B5, or I'm going to print it on A5 or A4, then I would create a canvas that has all of the margins set up for an A4 or whatever size printing that you have, and then I don't need to resize it. It depends. Is there a way to like download the VOD for future viewing? Yeah, it's on YouTube. All my VODs are on YouTube, so don't worry about it. Yeah, go and sleep. Go and sleep. No worries. Thank you for hanging around. I might need to take like a 5-minute break soon because my voice is giving out. I just need to get water and like get a snack. But I think we can come back. See you for Prata. Yeah! We have baited all of ourselves. Anyway, I can cover some of the remaining tools in this middle section here before I touch on like the other comic related tools and the navigator side on the right side. So after the eraser tool, you have the blend tool, and it's exactly what it is. It blends. What else will you? No one is gonna expect anything else. Okay, so I'll just do a quick demonstration for whatever's sake. Okay, I have this pink, I have this blue, I have this blue. All right, well, and then we go to blend. So normal blend would do this. So you can see it. You want to create a middle color. This is what you get. Middle color, something like this. Yeah, that's as much as it does. Blur is a little bit different. So you don't create a new color, but you just kind of blur the border between the two colors. There's no new color being made. You have fingertip. So fingertip, what it does is like kind of smudging. It's the same as the smudge tool in like Photoshop. So you do this. It's better for like painty stuff. You want to create fur or whatever. It's like fade in that color. Yep. So this one is a little bit more organic, I would say. Painterly Blender, kind of the same as Blend, but it looks painterly. Wet Bleed, same thing. If you are doing like a watercolor kind of style, this might be useful for you if you want. Textured Blender, same thing. Just different textures, I think. But you're gonna get a new color every time you do this. The only one that doesn't generate a new color is blur. Okay, copy stamp is basically your clone stamp tool. So when you try to use it, it will tell you how to use it because it needs a specific area. So click while holding Alt or specify reference position is on. The set location will be for it to copy. So if I have Alt and I wanna, let's say, reference this area, I think. Yeah, it will do this. So it's the same as Photoshop. Alternate basically sets the reference point and then you can just da 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 da. So the same as Photoshop. You're good, yeah. Stop using Photoshop. Okay. So the blend tools are kind of done. And moving on to here, liquify. My favorite thing on the planet. So, liquify tool is what it does. It basically, it's so much better than Photoshop because Photoshop, when you liquify, you have to open this other window and it takes 3,000 years for it to generate a new version of your layer, and then you have to slowly move it, and then you don't really know how the rest of it looks like when it's like lagging the fuck out. Okay, I hate Photoshop liquify so much. Over here, I can just do it on the canvas itself. So I'm just shifting things around. I need to show you what I've done. So this is the thing I've been working on. You guys would have seen it. But basically, this entire part was liquefied. Okay. I think this is a Clip Studio EX feature, but what you can do is pretty crazy. You can liquefy multiple layers at once. Okay. I know in like Photoshop, I'm not sure about now, but like last time when I was using it, you can only liquefy like one layer at once. But if you, let's say I have the whole folder, okay, like my entire art, like right now, is like the line art is on this folder, and I have my color on this other layer. It's just like a temporary fill color, okay? So it's on one layer. If I want to move both the line art, like I want to liquefy both of it, the line art and the fill color together, I can just do this. Oh, too fast. Do you see it? Like, do you see it? It moves together. Oh my god, yeah, it's so good. It's so fucking good. Okay. Yeah, I fucking love liquify tool. And let's say I think my head is too fucking small. If my head is too small right now, you can change the mode of the liquify tool. It's over here. You have bloat. Okay? It would take a while because this file is huge. So do it all the way. This folder, this file is huge. I'm gonna kill my PC. I'm gonna use something smaller. Okay. I can bloat this one. Alright. Like. Whoa! That's a smaller version of me appeared, guys. What the fuck? What the fuck? Wait. I didn't know that happens. Whoa! Wait. So all that was in my head was just a smaller version of me. Holy shit. Okay. You like last filter on every layer? Yeah. Yeah, it's just me. Okay. But yes, you have bloat, you have inverse, you have pinch. So if you think my head is too big, if you think this is not representative of how stupid I am, yeah, you can do that. Other things, you can push left. I generally don't use this because it's a bit strange, but it has a bit of a 3D effect to it, okay? I normally don't use this. Okay, if you want to get like a bit of a spiral kind of motion, you can do this. You can use, what is it, the twirl? You have this. Whee! Oh, you have this. Whee! I don't know when you will use this, but like, yeah, it's there. Okay, they have it. You can change the strength of it. You can change the hardness. What I am quite certain about is that it does follow your pen quite drastically if you move it a lot. So if you're not keen to move something too far and you don't want to keep undoing and redoing, just adjust the strength. And I would say for PCs and tablets that don't have like as much processing power, set the strength as low as you can without it being like completely motionless, because the strength will help you make sure that you don't crash your system when doing this. It takes a lot of processing power. So for example, like I have my strength here. If it's just enough for you to nudge it a little bit, I think it's best. But typically I have it like really high in case I want to do something crazy. But this is because my PC can handle it, and like if you're on top of that, if you're using it for multiple layers, like just now, like what you saw me doing on like this canvas, if you have your strength really high and you smudge everything in its wake, like you smudge one whole line, it's gonna lag, and you just lag for me. So adjust the strength to your processing power. Don't overdo it. Oh, hey, that's true. I can use the twirl for splatooning. Yeah. Creating specific patterns, I think. Yeah. Hardness. So it says here, when the value is lower, the effect is focused on the center point. So basically, let me try to illustrate this for you. So let's say your brush is about this size. The harder it is, basically the higher the number, this entire area will be the one that's affected by the liquify. The lower it is more towards the center. So maybe like this part. But I think it depends on your pen pressure as well. Like it would change. So hardness is like, if you very light pen pressure, this is the amount that is gonna be affected. If you use hard pen pressure, it will slowly grow in size until it reaches like the max size. So that's how it kind of works. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense to you guys. It makes sense to me, but like, let's see. So let's say this is my brush size. If I'm using no, I can see it's like it's pointing very. It is a very hard point that's coming out. If I increase the hardness, do you see the difference of it being like dragged out? It's basically filling up the circle much more. So yeah, that's the difference. Fill tool, very standard stuff. You can refer to just the current layer. You can refer to other layers. So basically whenever like a tool in Clip Studio says that like it refers to something, there is a tool over here on the layers where you have to set the reference. You must set a reference layer. I'm not super sure about this because I rarely use it, but basically what it does is that you can set, for example, your line art layer as your reference layer, and everything else will take that layer into consideration. Sorry, I don't have the YouTube thing set up. It just stopped. Why did it stop? Okay, there we go. You use that for edge erase? Ah, yeah. So, for example, there is this thing where I can color within the lines of some using certain brushes. So let me try to find like a line art layer. You guys want to see Ginya's working files? Oh man. Let's see. What do I have in here? Do I have the line art separated for this one? Oh, I do? Oh, there's not really line art. Okay, my bad. No line art in here. I need something clean to show this. Give me a second. I guess I can use Ginya. Okay, Twitch, don't ban me. Don't ban me. Ah. Okay. Oh wait, this is the merged file. Ah, wrong file. My bad. Give me another second. Okay, here. This one. As you can see, I don't give my files a proper naming unless it's really like a commission kind of thing. So, where is it? Meow. Okay, yeah, this is the line art. So if I set the line art layer with this, it looks like a lighthouse icon on the layers here. Basically, what I can do is that, if I'm not wrong, I do have one set up already. Does this? Oh, yes. So, it's pretty interesting because what I can do is that, you see how thick the brush is compared to the line? I can, as long as I don't cross this like chin line, this like jawline with the center of the brush, it will not spill over. So, do you see this? I'm putting my full force into it, by the way. It's only after I cross, then it will go in. But this is how some people do their like cell shading because it's so convenient. I'm doing this on one layer, and it's not even on the line art layer, by the way. So it basically takes like all the lines. Like you can see here, like if I'm overshotting the center, it does show up. But if like I'm careful enough, it's clean, and then it snaps. Yeah, it's the spookiness. It's so fucking good. So how we do this is that if I'm not wrong, is it anti-overflow? So all your brushes, you can go into the settings of them in the tool property. Below here, there's a wrench. I know my chat is kind of blocking it, but there's a wrench icon over here. Let me try to bring it up. Over here. Okay. It'll show you the sub tool details. And if you go to the last one, you go to anti-overflow and do not cross lines of reference layer. So you need to check that. And what you want to do is you want to change the area scaling to about I think about 7 or 8, and then it will work really, really well. I have to lock opacity on Photoshop and separate the head and neck to do this. Right? So you don't have to do that here. You can just... I'm freehanding it. I'm not even putting any precision on this. Let me just... Yep, and there we go. It's shaded. Yippee! I love CSP, bro. Sorry, this is a huge file, so let's just make sure I don't fuck up anything. Okay. Where was I? I don't know. I got so sidetracked, bruh. Got so sidetracked. Refer other layers. Yeah. Okay. So reference layer. I think a lot of these, whenever it says refer, it does have something to do with like the reference layer. I can't go through everything, but it does help you. Usually if you're like tinkering around with things, try messing around with like the lighthouse icon here. Usually it has something to do with the reference stuff. So yeah. How is the colors under the line though? Let's say the line is semi-opacity. Ah, that is where the area scaling comes in. Okay, let me try to make something. Okay, so let's see. Let me use a thicker pen. Let's use a G pen. Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's set this as the reference layer. And the layer underneath it, I'm gonna create one. So top layer here is the line art layer. This is the layer I'm gonna color on. So what you wanna do is grab the pen that you've already set with the anti-overflow. Hi Tempest, welcome to class. Class is in session. So do not cross reference layer. I can keep this at the side. Let's say I want to color it like a light pink. Okay. So this happens. All right. So it colors very nicely inside. It's not overflowing anything. And if I lessen the color, do you see how many pixels? Do you see that it filled in a little bit here? So that is what area scaling does. So the more pixels you set means that it will color on the inside of the line. So it depends on the thickness of your line art. You might want to change the area scaling, but let's say you don't have area scaling on. I'm gonna show you what happens, okay, for the others. Okay, oops, wrong layer. So if you see here, it's gonna color directly at where like your line art ends, and that's not what you want because people can check. So do you see that there's like this transparency here that you don't want? So that area scaling being checked actually prevents this from happening. A lot of times when you're doing like when you're trying to fill up line art, right? What people would do is they just use the magic wand tool. They select on the inside of the line art, and then they go to another layer. Okay, they go to another layer, and what they do is they just bucket tool it, right? So let's say make him blue. You just bucket tool him. But the problem is that if you bucket tool him, it's gonna be like straight on like the outside here. And if you're using like something a little more textured and maybe the brush is less opaque on the edges, you're gonna see a lot of like you're gonna see this like this mild redness. You see the red is coming through. You don't really want that. So the best is always to use area scaling. It helps a lot. It's an amazing tool. It's like it takes away so much problems, okay? But let's say you sit in for this session where I'm telling you all of this and you completely forget how this works. You forget about how to set the reference layer. You forget about how to use the anti-overflow on the brush. That's fine, because you know why? I'm lazy. I don't do that all the time either. Unless I'm working on a big project that really requires me to be super efficient, I don't do that all the time. I'm just lazy that way. What I do to prevent this like this transparency between like the layers is what I want to do is I will select the outside first. So I'm currently on like the line art layer. I'll select outside the little guy, and what I do is I invert my selection. So Ctrl+Shift+I is the shortcut, but you can always use like the invert selection, which is like the third icon on the bar below. So what you see is that it's selecting on the inside. And what you can do is just fill it up. And that way, you don't have that issue of the transparency on the inside. Obviously, you can still see a little bit here, but the bucket tool and select auto select like the magic wand tool, they too have aerial scaling. So what you can do is, if I want to select the outside, so you see with aerial scaling, it already accounts for about 3 pixels. And then if I invert it and fill it up, ta-da! It's clean. You don't see anything. Well, maybe a little bit, but usually you can't see much. It's nearly unidentifiable that you have used like a fill tool or something like that. So for this one, I did the exact same thing. You can tell because my line art is using a very textured pencil. You can tell there are a bit of like artifacting here and there, but it's already really clean. It's uniformly clean because I selected on the outside, I had aerial scaling, and then I inverted it and filled it in. So that's how I got like really clean fills. And Clip Studio really makes it very easy for you because aerial scaling is a thing. It's like my favorite thing on this app. It's so good. So yeah. By the way, bucket tool itself has aerial scaling. Anything to do with fill, selection has aerial scaling. So yeah, you can always check your tool property here. Check if it has aerial scaling. If it has, then you know what it does. Ta-da! Okay, I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. And I'm gonna talk about like workspace. And I'm gonna to show you like the last or like the toolbar and what's on the right side and what you can open and what you cannot open. Okay, all right. BRB, I need water. Bah! Let me write somewhere. I'll be back in like 10 minutes. So yeah, toilet break and stuff. Huh. Ugly ass color. Give me a second. BRB. Okay, be right back. Hello? Is everyone still here? Sorry, shorter break than I thought it would be. Hoi hoi. I have a packet of like paper gao with me. I'm just sipping on it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm back. Anything you guys like want to ask about so far? Is there anything that wasn't clear? Because I've been yapping non-stop and I'm like, am I going too fast or too slow? Oh, it's so good. Okay. I'm glad it's helping. I can't wait to shit on the UI. I'm just kidding. And put it to practice, then I see if it any questions. Then yeah, sure. Also, by the way, if anyone has any questions, like or they can't remember what's happening, or like how to do certain things, just feel free to like DM me or like ask me on Discord, like in the Estuary Discord server as well. Feel free to like just add me and ask, because I'm happy to help. Yeah, definitely on more of the practice part. Yeah, I get it. A lot of these things, like, I had to pick it up over the years when I'm working on my stuff. And to me, it's just like, wow, this is so inconvenient. Why am I doing all of this? And then suddenly someone tells me, like, hey, you can actually do this. And I'm like, huh? Okay, guys, I better see you, like, with amazing art in, like, the next, like, 3 weeks. You guys have homework now. I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. Go at it at your own time. Just let me know if you run into any issues. Toppy! Where's your ref sheet? Wanna try the vector liner and make some of my color brushes to be within the liner soon. Hand up the homework using Photoshop. I can tell when if it's Photoshop or it's Clip Studio. I can tell. I'm JK. Okay, so let's get back into it, shall we? Now, I'm gonna be talking about the last few icons. So how many icons is this? Gradient, figure, frame border, text, and balloon. Okay. So, gradient is gradient. I don't know what to say, but like, you have many different kinds of gradient here. And so that it doesn't kill my PC, I'm just gonna give you a little box over here. Oh, Jesus Christ, my eyes. Okay. So, I just want to color this like one box. Like one like white box. Sorry, I'm like hiccuping. Oh my god. Give me 5 seconds. Okay, what happens when I drink pipakao? Does it happen to you guys? Because I don't know, it's like common occurrence for me. Okay. So I think most of you guys would know how to lock opacity. In Clip Studio, locking opacity means like I just want to work within this one area on the single layer. I don't want to like go out of it like this. So it's this icon over here. It's called lock transparent pixels. So basically it makes it so that you can't draw on any transparent pixels. So it works with all the other tools. You can use like the fill tool, you can use like rulers and stuff like that. It would not go out of the opaque areas. So for gradients, there is this. So foreground to transparent basically just means it takes the first color in your color selected bar thing. I'm trying to move it up so that you guys don't get blocked by my... Is that enough? No. I'm trying to push it up! And it's just getting further and further down. Why? Okay. I'll use the color wheel one instead. Okay, so basically it just takes the color that you have selected, like the first color, and it builds up to transparency. So basically any color that's underneath, you can still see the other half. Foreground to background, however, it takes your second color. So you can place like maybe this, and it just does this. Where your cursor starts and ends matters. Because you can start here and end here, and then, you know, there's definitely going to be more cyan here than there is black. Same the other way around. So yeah, just take that into account. There's also this, which is pretty cool. You can create stripes. So basically what I understand is that the stripes are the same as the foreground to transparent. So it just takes like the first color. Does it? Oh yeah, it only takes the first color. So let's say I want a nice teal. And the distance that I drag it to is basically half of it would be the color that I've selected and half of it will be transparent. Does that make any sense? So if you want to control the size of like the stripes, basically what you're doing is you would drag it from here to like here. And half of it will be the color that you selected and half of it will be transparent. So let's say I'll put that theory to the test, okay? So I want a different color. If I drag it from here, by the way, I'm using shift to drag like a straight line. Like otherwise you can drag your stripes in any direction. So for example, if I want to do this, yeah, I can do that. It's on a different layer, so it's not being stuck to that one layer. Okay, here. So I can do this. But if I want it to be straight, I can just hold shift, just drag it from, I guess, here to here. And you see? Yep. So it's like half will be color and half will be transparent. Background color to stripe, same thing. I drag it from here to here. And it will be basically my first color and my second color that's selected, like over here. There's others. Photosphere, it's basically a sphere. You can change the colors over here. Like you can specify the color gradient in like your tool property. What you can do is you choose the color that you want, and you click here, and you can create this kind of stuff, which is pretty fun. Blue sky is exactly what it is. Bsky. You want to create a quick sky? Just do this. Yeah, you have a sky. Midday sky, you can do this. You get a midday sky. Sunset, midnight sky, and prepare for some eye hurting. You have the rainbow. Okay. Gradient erase. Oof. This is basically you know how you use your transparency. Your transparent color is like as an eraser. This is the same thing, except that it's using the gradient to erase a certain portion. So if you want like let's say you want this white box to gradient out into like transparency, so you can see like the background, which is like the light gray over here, you can just do this, and there you go. Manga gradient, I don't use this much, and I honestly think is more, it will make more sense if you're doing manga. I'm not so familiar with it because it's been a while, but what you can do is that it automatically creates like a mask. So you see over here on like the layers on the right side, it has like a mask layer has been created. What you would do is normally, if you want to get rid of anything, it's the same as like Photoshop. Okay, so whatever is black and white will determine like what is being shown and what's not being shown in the mask. So, but the thing is that for Clip Studio, it's white and transparent. It's not black and white. So I'm currently using, let's use this double line brush, okay? This double line brush, I have transparent being selected as my color. So this is, I'm drawing on the mask. I'm drawing the mask itself. So it just helps with that. If you want the line to come back, just color it over with white. It's as simple as that. So right now the color that I have selected is white. So it's just, and it doesn't disrupt the gradient at all. It doesn't do anything. So yep. You can always create masks, by the way, but I'll get to that later. Like, you can create masks on any layer, and it comes in very handy when especially you do not want to dirty your the original layer. Like, for example, you have a VTuber model and you only want this one part to show up, but you do want to delete the rest of the layer. You can use a mask. That means like the layer, whatever's on it, will not be touched, but what is shown is just the layer that you have masked. So you can always just get rid of the mask and the whole layer will come back. It's very useful. Okay, so onto the next tool, we have the figure tools. So figure tools are basically your straight line tools, very standard stuff. Press shift and drag it, you will snap to 45-degree angles in any way. You can freehand it. You can curve line, so same, you just let go here and then you can curve. So click, drag, and drop it where you want the curve to end, and then wherever your mouse is, it will follow, and then you click to stop it. Polyline is something like the poly select tool. Was it polyline select tool? Yeah, same thing. Continuous curve, this is a little bit more tricky. You can do this. You can end it. So this will make more sense on a vector layer, I think. For Illustrator enjoyers, this is for you. So let's say I do this, and then if I go into object, let me check. Control point, yep. So when you go into the vector, the correct line, remember this tool that I was like showing earlier, you can see the points that you selected. It's very clean. This is what you want to use if you are doing something more graphic-y, you know. Right, it makes more sense to use this on a vector layer than a raster layer. So yeah. You have Bezier curves, same thing. I've never used this in my life. But you can, it is basically what you do on Illustrator as well, okay? It's not that I've never used it, I just don't use it. You want to create this kind of curves where you can like edit like the handles. You can edit them by pressing Control, by the way, as you're still drawing the curve. So you want to edit them, just press Control, pick on the handle, change it. If you want to delete the point, press delete, and you can backspace. You mean my curvy cunty husband, the Bezier? Okay, my bad. I don't know your game. I don't know why I have a lasso tool here, lasso fill here. Maybe I just dragged it in by accident, but my lasso fill should be in my selection area. That one is downloaded, please ignore it. I have my rectangle tool. Rectangle tool is great because you can just check this and you can add the roundness of the corner. So you check this, you can change how round you want the corners to be, and you can like just draw your rectangles. Okay, and let's see what else. The ellipse tool. The ellipse tool here, basically you can drag into any shape, And once you let go, it will go into this free rotation kind of thing. If you don't want it to rotate, just press shift and it will snap to any of the 45-degree angles. And then you just click again and then it will freeze. So that's how you get your ellipse out. Polygon tool, same thing. Free rotate, click it again at any angle to freeze it, and that's how you go. You can create your own as well. So I created my own kind of rectangle tool and my own like circle tool. So what I did was I took one of the brush, one of the ribbon brushes that I had. I applied the texture. It's not the Amogus brush. It's not. Trust me. But I had it. Okay, I did it once. So I did this from one of the character showcases that I had. But what it does is basically it takes this lace pattern, applies it to a circle, and I can just drag it out like that. Pretty nice, no? It's not the cleanest because it's not optimized for this kind of usage, but I think it does the job. You can do this too. I set it on the, let's see if I can increase the thickness. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. So you can create like frames and stuff. What if I change the angle? It's a bit hard to tell, I think, but yeah, it still works. Adjust angle of the fix. So basically this allows you to free rotate the thing, and then you have to click again to freeze it, like the polygon and the ellipse tool, but usually I have it off because I don't use it. So just don't use the adjust angle of the fix. Start from center. You can do it from the corner instead. So see like where I'm clicking right now, I click here and I can drag it out from here. If I use start from center, it does it like a circle instead. So yeah, different stuff. Spraying effect, I wouldn't use it because it does this unless you really want it for a very specific use case. It just makes it look like it's sprayed. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that you can do with the figure tools. Pretty cool. I really like the fact that I can add like textures onto like the rectangles. If you want to create like one of these, like the lace ones that I have, what you want to do is you go to rectangle, for example. I will duplicate subtool. So I right click it, duplicate subtool, just name it whatever. And I can choose the tool icon. Basically, this is what you guys see when you are making like when you download like other tools, and then people choose like whatever thing. Like earlier I was saying, like I don't know why one of my brushes is categorized as an airbrush, but somehow the creator thought it was an airbrush, so they selected the airbrush icon. But here what I want is the rectangle, so I'm gonna click this. So it created a new one over here at the bottom, and you can go to the subtool settings, and I will go to the brush tip, and I'll go to material. So I can set anything as the material. Let's say I want this. Spraying effect. Honestly, this one's a little bit hard because it's so thin. Okay, no. I'll go for something a little easier. You can set multiple materials to a brush, and then you can change like... Shit, does this work? So, okay, so this is my Amogus. Oh shit, it's so hard to see. I'm not sure you can tell, but like that's my Amogus being duplicated multiple times. I can change it to like I need to change the spread of it, the density. Ribbon, repeat method. Oh, there we go. So by enabling ribbon, it allows you to use it like a ribbon, so you drag the thing out like that, like vertically. Repeat method basically change how the how the thing is manipulated. You see the guy just like kind of flipping, flopping. It's fucking funny. Oh, what the fuck? So the repeat method for this one is a little bit different. It's only once, so you can see the guy just kind of like, I don't know what he's doing. He's like untripping himself. So yeah, that's how you can create your own. Always good to just kind of play around with it, see how much you wanna how much you wanna adjust. There are a bunch of things you can do actually, really a bunch of things. Let's say I want to change the, yeah, this is, I've changed it from horizontal to vertical, so now it's like being tiled the other way. I can change the angle of it too. Yeah, but let's not do that. You want to delete it? You don't want it anymore? You're not happy with it? There's a trash bin here. Just click on it. Yeah. Can my model be painted with it? No. Honestly, even if I did paint your model with it, you won't be able to see it. You won't know. You can try to inspect your model, okay? If I do use it, I won't tell you. Okay. Next up. There are things that this in particular is basically your straight line tool, but you can download packs of like of the asset store of like different kind of patterns made with the line tool. So I have this. I like to use it for my graphics a lot. You can just drag this out. Oops. You can drag this one out. Really useful stuff for just like making graphics quickly. And I can even like do it horizontal, like diagonally, vertically. Real simple stuff, but very useful. The Manhara girlies would love this one. But yes. This one is more for manga. So the next category we had the speed lines. So you know, like when like things are happening in the manga and like that, yeah, things they want to use, like, oh, it's so disgusting. Yeah, these are the lines that you can generate. So Clip Studio is really made for like very specific use cases in manga. Like you can even make rain actually. So let's just do a random line and then yeah, there we go. So it makes things a lot faster for like mangakas. Originally Clip Studio Paint was named Manga Studio, and I used Manga Studio 5, I think, back in the day, before Clip Studio existed. So yeah, these are like functions from like Manga Studio that existed before. It's pretty much the same stuff. You can always like after you generate these, you are basically creating like a new layer, and it's like a little bit like a vector layer, because if you press like you click on it, you press control, you can adjust the points. Like let's say you want alternate. Yeah, you can do that. So these are like just the burst lines, a bunch of these. You can use this for patterning as well, if you want to create your own. There are a bunch of it on the asset store. I would say just play around with it. It's fun. Makes things a lot easier. Okay, let's move on to the next tool. So on the topic of manga and comics, I have used this before. I do like it, but it may not be for everyone. So let's say you want to create like let me do like a draft, okay? So let's say you have a page like this. Okay, manga page. And let's say you have kind of like that. And then you have like a, I don't know, okay, whatever this is. I have a sketch here. normally when you do manga, you also have like a bit of like a manuscript, like a draft. So once you get to your actual framing, like you have decided on your frames, what you can do is for rectangular frames, you can just use this rectangle frame. It creates this for you. And basically what it does, maybe I should move my model a little bit. Give me a second. I think it'll be easier for you guys to see if I move my model. Okay. So it creates a folder, and basically within this folder you have the frame background layer. It fills it in for you, and this is a blank layer for you to do your lines and your drawing. So for example, I want to draw like I want to draw myself saying something. Shit. Okay. It basically acts as like a opacity lock already, because you can only draw within the frame and you have full control over it. Okay. And let's say you want to add more frames. So let's say now this one is a little bit more, it's not a rectangle anymore. So what I can do is I can use polyline. So I shift for a straight line. I click here, shift for a straight line again, I click again. And this time it's a little bit odd, so I'll just do this. And I'll do that. It's a little bit off, but don't worry about it. We can always change it. If I'm not wrong, can I? I should be able to change it. Oh, there we go. So you go to operation tool, you go to the object. Usually any of these like vector kind of layers, you can edit it with like the operation tool here. And then I will... So this one as well, it will have its own like new layer. So you have like... Ta-dang! It's a cube. I can't fucking draw a cube. Whoa. Look, I found a cube. Okay, yeah. So basically, now you have like different folders for your different frames, and this can be really useful if you want to like add different effects, because once it starts to stack, for example, like I want to add like gloom lines to this one. So earlier the lines are here. You can just add that, whatever. You see, it would like clip to it. It's immediately recorded on YouTube, so I'm dual streaming to Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so this will remain on YouTube. I won't take it down. Twitch may or may not stay up because of the auto deletion thing, but yeah. So everything is now here. It will be under this layer, and I think this is really useful because it really helps you just like manage all of your layers like automatically. You don't need to do anything. But I would say that some people feel that this might be a bit restrictive because like you're now on this layer where you can't really work on anything else except for that one frame, and sometimes you need, for example, you want to be a bit more creative with your layers. You want to like draw over, like you want to have like some part of the next character, like for example, if I want like Ginya's ears to be like here. And I needed to cut over this, then yeah, using a frame will not work. But you can combine a bunch of different kinds of layers to get the effect that you want, and still have them in like the proper folders and like still benefit from like the actual framing stuff. If you want to cut the frame folder, you can. And it gives you two options. You can either divide the frame folder, so it creates a new folder for you after it's divided, or you can just divide the frame border itself. So let's see. If I draw a line like this, I can just like kind of window, it looks like a window wiper. I can just divide it and it's still within the same folder. If I use this one, it creates a new folder here. So yeah, they have pretty nifty stuff. So now we're on the manga stuff as well. There's the next one, text. So you have text like in any other program, but it has a very interesting feature where you can add text to the same layer. So for example, actually let me introduce the balloon first, then I can show the text. I think it's pretty cool. So let's say I want to create a balloon here. Alright, here. I can change the border, and I can change like the fill color is the same thing. The first color over here is your border, the second color is your background, so you can change it anytime you want. So I put a balloon here, and let's say I want a tail. So I can select the balloon tail tool, and I can add it here. Or if I want to make it look like I'm thinking, I have the thought bubble tool here. So pretty fun. You can even change like the balloon tail to have like a straight line, a polyline, or a spline. So sometimes it looks really stupid. If you want it to be like, it's like coming from like 3,000 angles, whoa, and then yeah, you can do this if you want to. If you want to spline it, so like a curve, you can do this. I think this is what a lot of people would like to do actually. Normally it's a curve. Something like that. So yeah, you have that kind of tool here. You can even have different kind of border. You can have the dotted lines. You can create your own speech bubble frame. I think is I don't think most people use this. It's a little bit tedious. Or you can, create your own. Just draw it, like, yeah, that's now your balloon, and it counts as one. So you can see that over here. Let's say I'm creating a bunch of different balloons, okay? And it's all on the same layer, by the way. It's not creating a new layer. It's all on the same layer. And what you can do is that you can use like the object selection. You can shift it around without needing to cut it, or use like a different different layer, because you can still move them around. Just click on them and just move them around. It works. And once you want to add the text, so let's go to the text tool. I'll be like, let's see. Can I? It does work in tandem with the balloons actually. Let me just try to figure it out. It's been a while. Okay, let's see. Ooh, my font. So it'll be like, hello. Why is it on the Japanese font? Sorry, the Japanese language, my bad. Okay. So, hello. I am Ika, and I try my best, Lamau. So currently, I just need to try to typeset it a little bit. But you can see that it kind of like centers on the balloon. It already centers itself as long as it isn't spilling out. And let's say I want to add like another balloon. Let's see. Balloon. So I have another balloon in the same chat, in the same box chat. Okay. And let me use the operation tool to drag it upwards. So let's say I got more things to say here. I need to say a lot of things. I can go back to my dialogue. And once I'm in the layer, like that layer, I can click again. And you see this time, there's like this box that encompasses the first line and the second line. So let me just... I like to say a lot of things. And you can see they are both in their own little box. So, oh my goodness. Hi, thank you for the follow, Snorlax Sigma. Interesting name you have there. Welcome, welcome. So what you can do is that, like, let's say I have something I want to change. I don't want this font anymore, okay? Let me see. I can go into this editing mode. Is this... Sorry, I'm figuring it out as I go. I can just click here, and then I can just change. Yep, it does this. You don't have to like select everything. I think you just can select the box itself, and then you can just edit. And when it comes to the text tool, it's pretty useful, because what you can do is you can change how you want to see like what fonts you're using as well. So let's say you want to select the font and you want to see how it looks like, because typically what you see when you just open it up is all of this, right? It's just like the normal, is the base Clip Studio font. You're just reading the names of the fonts that you have. You can click on this thing. Oh, I can't bring it closer to you guys, but it's at the bottom left. You can click on the A, and you can see how it looks like in its actual font. And if you want to see how it looks like in what you have typed, as long as you have selected like one of the boxes, you can click on this ABC thing. And now it shows you like, oh yeah, you can see like how it looks like before you click on it. So, oh, I kind of like this, you know. Why did it change? Sorry, clown moment. Why didn't it change? Oh, there we go. It has to be selected text, because you have to see like apply to over here, and then new text only or selected text. So it just shows you like what it's applying to. So yeah, I was on the wrong one just now. But yeah, so with it being in the same layer, you can basically organize your text a lot better. You don't have to create new layers, have a new layer for every, like, you know, for example, you have a big frame with 5 different text boxes. You don't have to have 5 layers of text. You can just have one, and it makes things a lot easier to manage in like a manga format. So this is very specific, only matters if you're making manga. There are other things like alignment, style, your usual like bold, italics, underline, strikeout. You have your horizontal, you can make it vertical as well, so it just flips it. You can make it circular, so you can change, you can do this. Where does it start from? Start, and it ends like this. Kind of like that, yeah. Circular text is cool because like for some designs you might want to have it like maybe on a badge, or you're designing like a pin badge and it's circular and you want text, you can use this. You can also change the radius of it. You can make it smaller, you can make it bigger. I made it too big, can't see anything anymore. You can change the direction of it. You can make it counterclockwise if you want to. You can space it out evenly. All of that. So you don't want the text to just like bundle up at the top. You can kind of space it out. Just check space evenly and it should work. So yep, that's most of it for the comic tools. By the way, I have been working off of illustration file. Clip Studio has multiple kinds of files, and then let me show you. So when I click on new, There's an icon over here, by the way. There's like, it looks like a paper and a plus. You can create illustration. I'm on EX, so I have more, but typically you can create like a webtoon. So it's a long format kind of comic. You can create a comic, and this is where you set up all of your margins, everything that you need. They have presets. So if you want to print like an A5 size manga, you have all the presets here. A6, commercial issue, postcard, blah blah blah. It has the margins for you to set it up, and you can even specify the bleed and everything. It does it for you. And the thing is that you can set your canvas to only accept monochrome, grayscale, or color. Typically, for like manga, I mean, most people just work in black and white, so it might either be monochrome or grayscale. But if you want to include, like, for example, you're working on a webtoon and the webtoon is colored, then you want to choose like color, because that will enable you to use like, yeah, your colors, obviously. You can template it. You can find a template. So they have frame templates for manga. So like the typical layouts here, it goes by how many frames per page and what's the layout like. There's a lot actually, and I think you can download even more on the Clip Studio Asset Store. It's quite crazy. There are tags for you to find what you need at the site. What else? Setting for fanzine. Check whether to export fanzine printing data. That I'm not so sure. I've not used it before. But you can also set them out, like the pages, like how many pages you're gonna have. You can combine 2-page spreads, blah blah blah, and I can show you how it looks like. So for example, I want to make an A6 size comic, and I want it to be color. You want to set your resolution to be high. So for those who normally work with vector, you don't really have to care about the about canvas size. But in raster programs like Clip Studio, you want to be more careful with it. And I don't think it's that scary, because it is exactly how you set it as. So like the margins and everything to real life. So if you want a reference, you can always take like an A4 paper, put it in front of you, and try to guesstimate, use a ruler, just trying to see like how much space you actually need. And the most important part is just your DPI, because your DPI will affect your printing quality. So you want a minimum of 300. The best you can have, and probably the most that you should have, is 600. I typically try to work off 600. It's not necessary. You don't have to do it. It's just crazy sometimes. 300 to 350 is fine. But I like to work big, and because my PC can take it. So yeah. You can even have story information. So you can set like your story name. You can have and it will show at like the bottom left side of your canvas. It won't be included in print because it's outside the crop zone. You can have like one number of stories. I think you can segment it out if I'm not wrong. You can have subtitles, you can put the author, and this will appear on every single page. If you want it to be, I think it will appear. So if you're exporting, like if you do like weekly comics, like say for social media, and you're gonna upload it, you can just put the author there, and it's like a template. You can just like, it will just export it together. Page number, you can also include it if you want to. Folio, I don't remember what this is. I don't exactly remember. I might need to look it up. But yeah, it's a lot of margin stuff that you can set it up. So let's say if I click this now, I can show you how it looks like. And it's cool because it acts like a virtual book. Okay. You can basically keep like a virtual sketchbook if you wanted to. So I have this many pages now, and this is a different type of file. It allows me to see how many pages that I have, and basically, let's say I open this, I can double click it, it will open the page, and you can see here, you know, page number. Oops, let me take out the color wheel. It says the name. It says, let me just make it a bit more obvious. Zoom it in a little bit. Okay. Here you can see the name, author, and you can see the page number. So you can draw something here. Okay, I don't know what I'm drawing. Once you save it, you see it will appear on your manga. So basically what you can do is that you can plan your spreads at one, and you can see it at one go. So like big illustration. So you can see it like over here. So this has helped me quite a bit when I was planning like older zines and stuff. Like I do my drafts here and everything, like it kind of works out. And all of these like individual pages, they are saved within a bigger file already on your PC. So if you go like, so let's say all on save here, we say continue. Yep. So let me, where did I even save this to actually? Haha. Okay, so I have a folder that I've designated to it already. I think on your first save, they will ask you which folder you want to save it to, but because I already have a comic folder, it goes immediately into it. So I do have a comic folder here. So this is the one that I just created. It saves for you every single page already, even though it's empty, it just generates everything. And then you can click here to open basically the comic.cmc. The CMC file is basically this thing. It's the thing that allows you to view all the pages at once that's involved in your comic. So that's how you can use the comic tool. Hi Ginya. Okay. So similarly for the other types of like canvases, they have different like the webcomic ones, they have their own perks, but it's quite similar to the comic one. It's just without the margins and stuff. And normally I don't use that because I mean I don't really make comics anymore. But when I used to, I use them a lot. Okay. Now let's talk about the layout. There are many things on your Clip Studio window, and I get that it's very confusing. For now, what I'm gonna do is I'll turn off my overlay so that you guys can see the whole thing, okay? So layout wise, the default is ass, okay? Because they're gonna have whatever this is at the bottom, you're not gonna use it. Most likely not gonna use it at all. So what I want you guys to do when you open your Clip Studio next time is to just click on the double arrows, hide them, or if you know that you're not gonna use them, for example, the one below is usually the timeline for animation, by the way. Just go to Window, click on Timeline, and All Sides View. All Sides View, where is it? And just get rid of it. Get rid of it entirely. Don't let it show up. What is the most important here is to make sure that you can see all of your subtools, your subtool properties, and your layers. Everything else can be opened up whenever. It's okay. So the layout that I like to use, so when you want to set up like your workspaces, right? You can go to Window and you look at Workspace. Clip Studio has defaults for you to start off from. So for example, you want to work on a comic. This is how the comic layout will look like. I would say that there's not much difference, to be honest. You want to go for illustration, then illustration will be this. Okay? And I like having the navigator open because you can kind of see, like, you can even move your canvas if you click on it if you want to. But the most important thing is that you can flip your canvas over here. like there's an icon over here on the top right where the navigator will help you like flip your canvases vertical, horizontal. This doesn't flip your actual image, it just flips your view of it. And you can fit it to screen, you can fit to the navigator where it's zoomed in on. You can even like rotate here if you don't use the shortcut like R. You can reset the orientation here. You can zoom in, zoom out. Let's say you are working on I don't know, a really small screen. Maybe you don't need this. Maybe you don't need this, but I do like the shortcuts here that you can just click on if like you're not used to like your keyboard stuff, like the keyboard shortcuts. Subview, I would say if you need references, like for example, Mr. Idia over here. So I've been working on his ref sheet, right? So subview is fantastic for references. So you can put your references here. Normally I like to put it at the corner somewhere. And what it allows you to do is that you can actually color pick from your reference and use it like on your canvas. Like let's say I'm color picking here. Basically there is like a switch to eyedropper over here. So you click on it and then you can eyedrop any part. Wait, what is this? Okay, here we go. Yep. So I get the color, I want a red, I can do this. So this is very helpful, makes things very fast. You can just, as you would moving your regular canvas, you can move this around, but you can't edit it. You can't basically you can't touch it, you can't destroy it or anyway. So this is makes it very safe for you to work with. You can basically flip your references, you can flip vertical, you can rotate it as well if you want to. You can reset the rotation, zoom in, zoom out, fit to the navigator itself. And the best part is that you can have an image list. So you can see here, I have multiple references. So I have Ginya's reference here. I have Tetsu's like like the layout stuff here, so I know exactly what I need to add in. I have my wall, my Warrior of Light. I have other artists' work here that I like to reference, so it's always here. I used to have a lot more. I just did a recent cleanup, so it looks like it's nothing, but yeah. You can import more, so you can open, you can bring anything else in. For example, if I want my Art Nights AU to be here, I can view it too. And if I want to clear it, go image list. And just click on it, clear it. So it's super useful. I would suggest like people who, actually anyone who needs references, just get it, everything, and put it into a canvas, export it, and chuck it into Subview. I think it's like the next best thing if you don't have a reference program like PureRef or something else that you use reference from. So I would say, other than this, if you look at the top right here, item bank, I don't use it at all. Just get it out of there. Item bank. Information, you rarely need it, but you can see your work time, you can see how much your application thing is taking. It's quite interesting. Actually, I'm quite curious. My work time on Ginya's reference sheet was 23 hours and 22 minutes. Over here, you can gauge how long each piece took. It's fairly useful. So far on my Ika model is 4 hours. This was like, this wasn't 7 minutes. Definitely wasn't 7 minutes because I copied this from another file. I duplicated it. Do not save. Can you see the model one? Oh. Let's see. Okay, but the thing is that the model one, I saved multiple copies, so it may not be accurate, but let's take a look. I think this is the final. "38 hours and 55 minutes for this one. 38 hours. This one was 34 hours and 21 minutes. And the first iteration of it, no work time. Okay, I guess like some will have, some will don't have. But yeah, in total, I would guess it's about 60 to 70 hours, maybe more. So yeah. Okay, let me calculate how much let me actually calculate how much that would be. This is so funny, that's so funny. So I'm taking my salary, I'm taking my total salary, I'll divide it by, let's say it's 20 days of working per month. And I divide it by 8 hours, I'm being paid about that much. So at times, about 70 hours of work. Yeah, that's about 1.6k, 1.7k. This is why VTuber models cost so much, guys. Yeah. That's really a lot of work, dude. That's crazy. Wait, 20. I'm curious. How much should I be charging for my reference sheets? Guys, this is how you actually calculate how much you should spend. How much you should be charging. Oh, sir, sir. This would have cost like 580. Let's not think about that. Yeah. I did not save. Truly. And well, I mean, you can keep that there if it's fun for you, okay? So other things, for example, here's a little things are a little bit more interesting, I guess, and more applicable. Let's say you wanna draw something like an accessory, okay? And you don't really wanna line art this thing. You know, you're kind of lazy. You're feeling like, yeah, I just want to draw this like really simple like ribbon, and I don't want to line art it so far. Thanks, Dante. I'll hydrate definitely. What you can do is make sure you have the layer property here open. You look at effect, border effect, and you can click it. So make sure the border effect is on edge color. Choose your line art color, and ta-da! And then you can change the thickness of it however you like. And let's say you're like, shit, I want this to be an actual line art though, but I still have this in the middle. If I rasterize this layer, if I like, so currently I'm working on this layer, I can rasterize it. That means the border effect is no longer there, but it's now baked into like the actual layer. It's still like this, right? And then like, oh my god, I need to select this and I delete. And then now, you know, it's not so nice. You know, you can totally do this, but like for thinner line art, you know, you may not be ideal. So what you can do is you can rasterize it. So, and what you want to do is make sure that your line art is black and whatever fill that's inside is white. You go to edit, convert brightness to opacity, boom. So anything that is white is going to become transparent. Anything that is black is going to be your line art. So now you have a transparent line art just sitting there, ready for you to use. So what I like to do is typically like let's say for accessories like chains or I don't know, there's like so many things, even braids. What I did with Ginya's one, if I remember correctly, what I did was this. So I had a layer, I used the layer effect, body effect, I went to black, and then I just made sure I was drawing with white, and I did this. Okay, this is really rough. So for example, like a very rough looking braid like this. Okay. And then I just adjust the thickness to make it look more natural. That looks more natural, more to my liking. And then I rasterize the layer. So now that it's baked into it, there's no more effect in there. And then convert brightness to opacity, and it's now line art. So now within here, I can just do my usual. I select outside. I do this, go into a different layer, and I fill it with the color I want. And there I go. I have line art. So I don't need to do all that. I don't need to shape it too much or whatever. I can just edit it on the go. So this is how I get a very simple braid. Not the most polished thing, but it can do wonders for minor details, for beads. Let's say you have a bunch of beads, you don't want to draw in every single thing. This works for you. Yeah, I think this is one of like the best things that you can do with the body effects. There are other things as well. Let's say you have a very realistic photo and you want to extract something. Okay, give me a second. I have a picture of a chair. What I want, I can do this. So this is called extract line. So what this does is that it makes it look like line art, and you can choose to posterize it, but normally I don't do it. I can change the line width, make it a bit thicker. I can change the edge threshold, so this makes it a lot cleaner. Okay. And then once, so I can like try to adjust this a little bit, just try to make it a little bit more clean. And then once I'm done, I can rasterize it. And if I want it to become line art, convert brightness to opacity, and there I go. I have very rough lines of a plastic chair. So you can use this for any other thing that you wish to use. Even the 3D models in Clip Studio. Yeah, really a lot you can do with it. And I would say that like the rest of it is you can use like tones. So for earlier, what you can do, I could do, is to add screen tone to that one layer of braid that I was working on, or I can basically just fully color it like this. Usually you won't use this. You might just bucket tool the thing or add like another layer effect on it. You know, it's a lot better. Not necessary to use this, but if you want to use it, go right ahead. But I think the most useful ones is like the body effect and the extract lines. So, yep. Also, you have things like further below here, you have your layers. Obviously, a bunch of stuff you can do. This is layer clipping. So let's say currently I have, let me make it cleaner. So I have this blue circle, and let's say I have this thing here. You want to clip. If I clip this down, basically whatever thing will just. It's kind of like you fold the top layer into the bottom layer. It's the same thing. And I can just do this. I can just move it around. So the layers still stay here. You don't really need to do anything else. Illustrator is very, I think Illustrator has like one of like the toughest clipping processes. Is so convoluted just to clip something onto something else. But in Clip Studio, all I need to do is just draw on a different layer and I just click this and it's done. For EX, what you can do is that you can clip things onto a whole layer, if I'm not wrong. So for example, I have... sorry. Clip things onto a whole folder is what I meant. So let's say I have another shape here. And I have this. Okay. And I'm gonna put these two blue blobs into a group. I can clip things to the whole folder so that I don't have to like individually duplicate this thing and do this. Like I don't have to apply individual clips. I can just clip it to the whole folder. Same for like layer effects. For example, if I wanna do like a gradient map. So correction layer, just right click any layer, the correction layer. And let's say I want to apply this thing to just these objects, but not the background. I can just clip it. And it clips it to the whole folder, including the lines that are underneath it. So it will just clip to anything that's underneath it, like directly underneath it. It only works, I think this only works in EX, but it's very useful, especially for like big files, really big files like video models and stuff like that. I use this all the time. And I would say that like everything else, actually, you don't really need to pay any minds to it anymore. Like search layer, animation cells, align, distribute. Align, distribute, if you're doing design, they have it here too. You can align center, left, right, top, bottom, blah 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 blah. Distribute evenly. You can select where to align it to, also like the canvas auto or like alignment object, canvas selection area, blah blah blah. Very useful for design stuff. And layer comps. Very useful for MV stuff, I would say. So let me open a commission, okay? Oh, this is already exported. Hi guys, sanity check. Everyone good? Layer comps. Yeah. Okay, so for example, I have Miss Nikki Pans here for Bake no Hana art. What I did was that I have the hand, the flower, blindfold, her open and closed eye, all on different layers, okay? And this is like the base, so if I toggle this all off, yep, this is just the base. So let's say I want to export different versions of her. So for example, I want her eyes open with the flower and the hand. Okay, so what I can do is I can add a layer comp here and I type it eye open hand. Okay, and then let's say I want another version with the eyes closed and maybe without the hand. I can make another layer comp. I shall name it to eye close no hand. So over here, like let's say I made an adjustment and I need to re-export it, and shit, I need to export the one with the eye open and the hand. I don't need to go and re-toggle every single layer that I had set up. I can just click on this and I go back to it. It basically activates the layers that I had open at the point of time that I created the layer comp. So I can just go between these and just export it again. So this is very useful. Like in the case of like a VTuber model, you have many add-ons. So you have the base model, you have the add-ons, and you can create different layer comps so like you can go between them, especially when there are like hundreds of layers and then you don't want to like recheck every single one just to like show like something. Yeah, it's very, very, very useful. They just recently added this. I think this was like a 3.0, Clip Studio 3.0 edition. But yeah. And then you have other things like over here on the layers. Set reference, I said earlier. Set as draft layer. I don't really use it. I think it's more for comics. You can lock the layer so that you don't touch it at all. Lock transparent pixels. Lock opacity basically. And there's this amazing thing that I found out recently. Not really found out recently, but I've been using a lot recently because I realized how good it was. Let me bring out something a bit more interesting to look at. Okay, maybe I'll use Ginya's ref sheet again. Okay. So let's say I am a chronic bum and I keep forgetting which layers I am drawing on, and I keep like messing up, like, oh shit, I drawn the wrong layer, like god damn it, you know. So what you can do is you can set a temporary color to all your layers. So for example, I only want to work on the inner layer, this one. I can select everything else. And I can click on this, change layer colors all the way at the side. Sometimes it disappears if like your layer is too like thin, like the bar is too thin, it might disappear. But you can click on it, and it colors everything that you selected blue. Okay, I'm passing out. Catch up with the vote next time. Good night. Good night. Please rest well. So it changes everything to blue. So let's say I do accidentally work on something and I don't want to lock all the other layers. I can tell if I'm working on the correct layer or not because it's not turning blue. If I'm using the wrong layer, as you can tell, it turns to this like weird color. It turns blue. So that's one way you can categorize your stuff. Or alternatively, what I like to do is like if there's line art, let's see. Delete all of this. So I have the eyes. Okay. So this is the head, and I want to work on the hair. But sometimes I don't want to like I want to work on like the hair on another layer, but I tend to forget, and like let's say I want to work on something on like on the eyes again, I would definitely forget to switch my layers. So what I would do is I would switch the bottom layer to blue, and I know that okay, I'm actively working on the hair layer. If I accidentally want to work on the eyes again to fix something, like oh I want to add a little like thing here, then I'm like ah shit, it's the wrong color, and therefore I'm on the wrong layer. So that helps a lot. It helps me focus on the correct layer. And let's say like, oh, I wanna work on the body. So I'll get this blue. And if I go to the layer property over here, basically this is the layer color thing that I said that most people won't use. My bad, but I can switch it to this like awful color. And it just helps me colorize everything. And once I'm done, like let's say I'm like done like drawing whatever I want to draw here, right? I can just switch it off and it's all black again. I don't need to go and recolor all of my lines. I don't need to like select it and like bucket it or whatever. Yeah. So it's good in for helping like in organization. I hope I don't need to go through the layer effects because I think this is quite well known. But I'm gonna show you guys like what kind of workspace I use. So this is my typical workspace. I have my tools closer to my workspace because that will make it easier for me to see. Because if it's too close to the edge, it's like very hard to access, and sometimes I need to really look very hard at it. So having it like not on the leftmost of my window is very helpful. And I still have my sub view here. I have my color mixing here. So color mixing is very useful because like let's say I want to get like a nice purple. I can just do this. Or let's say I have a very specific color like Ginya's color and I want to add a little bit of pink to its variation. I can just do this. And then I get a nice color that I can work with. So very useful to have like the color mixing tool palette here for me. So I have this here. My subtools are on the side because I can just drag it out and I can see very clearly what it is. So yeah, it's better this way. Tool properties all here. My layers, because I work on very big canvases with many layers for VTuber models, I tend to need the whole space. And like for example, like Ginya's ref sheet, this is not so bad, but once it comes to like, if I'm really just like expanding everything out, it's a lot. And this is already merged. Like it was more layers than this. They have this cool thing. Let me move my model again so you guys can see. So they have this cool thing in layers where you can click on this. So you can show layers in 2 panes. So what you can do is that you can drag it. And let's say I need to keep accessing something at the bottom of my layers. I can scroll all the way down here and leave it there. So I can access like, let's say the background color of the paper. Okay. You can't see anything now, but so if I need to access the first layer, I don't have to keep scrolling down on the whole thing. If I'm working on something very high up, I can just have it here, and then without me needing to scroll all the way back down to access something on the bottom. So this makes things a lot more convenient. You can just split the layer panel into 2. There are other things like, for example, you want to isolate a certain layer. If I'm not wrong, it's a control click. Or if you want to find what layer that this is on, like let's say I don't remember where this is, I can control and I click it. It will tell me what layer it is before I let go of control. You need to press and hold it, you click it, and then it tell you where it is. And then once you let go of control, it will jump back to your current layer. I can't remember what's isolating. Oh, there we go. So control alternate, if you click on the eye here, you can isolate this current layer and you will hide everything else. This is very useful if you're painting VTuber models with objects that are behind other layers and you don't want to keep like toggling on and off. So you want to bring it back, just control alt click again, and then everything else will come back. But yeah, this setup works very well for me. I don't usually use 100% of my screen for painting because very honestly, most of the time when you're focusing on something, you're not going to use more than like this amount of space. Like your eyes can only see so much at one go. You don't need that much space. But it's a different case for like tablets and stuff where you need more space for your hand to glide, like for iPads and other drawing tablets. Screen tablets, yeah. So that's the difference there. But for me, on PC, it's a lot easier to just work off this small space. And there are things that I have not like talked about, which are like the auto actions. So for example, like I want to give like a very grainy and like a interesting kind of like texture on top, there are things that you can download that give you this kind of thing. They're called auto actions. So the auto actions, for example, I have a bunch. I have a pixel ether, I have chromatic aberration, dramatic lighting, CRT LED effects, fucked up screens, dramatic lighting effects, immediates, and stuff like that, right? So what I can do is like, let me open up something that's already flattened. So for example, this, okay, it's like a drawing of my wall. If I want to add chromatic aberration, I can. So this is something that I downloaded. It's by Kai Opai. But I can just double click on it and it will run like a bunch of processes. And I just have to click yes, 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 and look at that. Chromatic aberration, wow! And if I don't want it, I gotta undo all of it. It basically runs a bunch of steps that you would normally have to do manually, but it's already like recorded into like a script. So this runs scripts that help you like produce certain effects. You can have like, for example, grain. If I want it, I can double click on it and then you give me grain. Like, look at how grainy that is. And basically what it does is just applies like a grain layer of 20% on overlay. So I can like increase it, decrease it, make it like more or less how I want it. You can even do things like one button dramatic. This is like popular at some point with like the Korean artists. I just clicked on it, what happened? Yeah, it creates like this kind of thing. It doesn't work all the time because you need to use like very specific layer settings, and but I think it's pretty nice that you have options to try this kind of stuff. I don't use it all the time though, but pixel ether. If I'm not wrong, some of them have very specific instructions that are available on like the asset page. So like since I'm kind of done with explaining like the base stuff, I can take you guys shopping, okay? So now if you open up the Clip Studio starting page, you see this. And where you want to find assets is a little difficult now, but you go to recommended materials, you click on this arrow. So over here, you can buy, purchase, or just download for free. A lot of things are free. Some are paid, but typically not too expensive actually. 3D stuff, pen, one click soft and dreamy. This is one of the auto actions that people have been saying, have been kind of hyping up about. It went viral on Twitter, I think. So this is the one. It's free. You can download it. And then you go back to Clip Studio. I have my download stuff here. So if I go to download, I can see this here. What I want to do is I will go to my auto actions. Add auto action set. So there's a, like a little thing on my auto actions window. Click on this, add that, and then now it has all of the steps here where you can just run it. How to run it? Just double click on it. It will run it, everything for you. So there's one way you can do it. Let's try it. Let's try it on Erxer. What? Oh, I need to create a duplicate. My bad. Okay, delete all this. I think I need to duplicate. I'm not very good at following instructions, unfortunately. Ah, there we go. So that's what it does. One button, soft and dreamy. Wow, the colors really changed a lot. So this is the original, and this is like what is. He vanished. Yeah. What else? We can go shopping some more. So we have this. Can ruffle brushes for dresses. Really can find all sorts of things actually. I really love 3D model shopping on the Clip Studio Asset Store. There are pretty cool things like frames for SNS profile pictures, so you can like, it basically creates like a circle, and then you can kind of see like when it's cropped how your image looks like and stuff like that. It's quite funny. Okay. This one too. It creates the warm light, like the subsurface scattering kind of look on whatever you paint. So you can just download it. Where it go, it just end up in your downloads folder. So you go to go here. I have it already here though, so shit. So it's here now, and this is a brush. So what I want to do is I'll take it, I'll drag it in, and boom. So now it's at the end of my list. What I can do is I can test it out. So look at that. It does have like the warm... That is so cool. Okay. But yeah, so there's like interesting stuff like this. What else do we have? Gradient maps. Gradient set. Ooh. Okay, let's try this. For example, gradient sets. I do like exploring gradient sets because you can really get very nice color schemes with it that you normally never think about. So for example, I see this one. I do like it a lot. Download it. So I go back to Clip Studio. Where I want to go is I want to right click on any layer, correction layer, gradient map. So you open this window. What I want to do is load to gradient bar? No, not this one. Oh yes, it's this one. So is this wrench? Add gradient set, and then you find it here. So I have these few that have not been added. Add all of them. So now I have Sumi 1, Sumi 2, sparkle, shimmer, gradients, blah blah. So here you go. Like earlier while I was doing those brushes, it's now being applied. Whoa. Yep. So that's what you can do with gradient maps. So when I was working on Tetsu's com, I needed like some poses with spears. So I went to download one. So I can just drag that in. And then I can do this. It appears on the new layer, by the way. So it's easy for you to kind of like make sure it's like, you know, you can edit it and stuff. So currently he's above like all my painted layers. I can change the model. If I want to just drag the hand up, I can. I don't even need to click on any pivots. I just click like that and I just drag it up. Ta-da! If I want to, you can adjust the body. So typically this is not the kind of proportion that I would use. So what I want to do is I click on the head. I can make it smaller. Use the neck, make it thinner. Shoulder width. Cool and a little trippy, right? Make it a bit wider, not as bulky. Can make his torso a little shorter as well. this. I would say that I think people have to use 3D models with caution, because it is very obvious when you trace over a 3D model. It's like you can tell when the artist is not familiar with anatomy, because it takes, this model is not very accurate, and there are a lot of people tend to use just like the base model and try to trace over it. So the perspective and like the proportions of the body and everything doesn't make sense. So for example, if I were to use this body for my Warrior of Light, he may not have the correct proportions if I don't adjust them. So like Manras are so lanky, right? So like I may need to do this. I need to, and then maybe for the body, like the pelvis area, I need to like, and then the legs, I need to make it longer. You can change the height, by the way. You can make it taller, shorter. You can make them as accurate as you want them to be, a lot shorter. Hit to body ratio, you can change it as well. But if you don't know what you're doing, it can look quite uncanny if you're just following it like from like straight up. So I would say this is good to aid you in doing poses, but it's not great as an anatomy guide. So like if you can find like a really cool angle, like let's say he's doing a little gore kind of thing. Kind of cute. You can zoom in. Let's say I just want to frame him. It's like it's good to help like you figure out like what angle you want to use, like. And I think the latest update, you can draw on the model and like itself. Not in this one yet, but you can draw on the model itself. So let's say they have like a complicated like design on the chest, and if you're trying to draw it from like a different angle, like for example from this angle, drawing on the model will help you like, oh yeah, okay, the position of the middle should be here, of the thing should be there. It's a lot of help for artists who can't really tell perspective and like foreshortening. Yeah, but I would say like use this with caution. It can be a double-edged sword. It can look good, but at the same time it can like become really bad really fast. And because it messes with camera angles as well, so you would say like, you know, this looks good, right? But once I try to draw over it, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but you'll be able to tell that if you're not used to your own your own like how do I put this, your own style or your own preference for like anatomy or like the proportions of certain characters, right? Like you're gonna start to see that like it's too long. See, if I'm following everything directly, and let's say I'm drawing Ika, I'm drawing myself, does this look like me at all? Right? It doesn't look like me at all. And in fact, the head is the perspective itself is kind of weird. Like, why is it so long, right? So what it should look like, if you have a better grasp, would be, okay, maybe I can still use this, but maybe not here. I can use this. The eyes won't be so high, it'll probably be around here. So I'm no longer following the head shape. And if the eyes are here, sorry, very rough ones. And then the forehead will be here. if my head looked like this, can you imagine how it looked like? That was so funny. Kind of like this, and the actual head shape will be like, kind of like this actually. It's not gonna be that high. So the forehead will be around here. Newborn baby head shape, yep. Even then, like, the face is just kind of off, right? Like, it doesn't quite look like it because I am still following the head shape. So I tend to just use it for a post reference, but not try to reference the anatomy too much because, yeah, it's not good. Also, like, the neck, whoa, suddenly it's so thick. Damn, that's a thick ass neck. And, like, no, the shoulders aren't good at all. And you can tell very clearly when someone's using a 3D model for hands because hands are so squishy and it has so much of its own form that a 3D model cannot replicate. So like, you can use this as a guide, yes, definitely. But if I were to follow this entirely, it really looks like a mannequin hand. It's not going to look very natural. It's like, you can just outline it, right? And you can kind of tell they ain't quite doing it. Like, I'm not even trying to exaggerate it. I'm really tracing it quite accurately, but it's like, yeah. So I would say use this with caution. Don't rely on it too much. It's good, but not always. I personally like it better for 3D environments. So I have a bunch of 3D environments actually. Let's see. Like for example, I have a library of sorts. And I can try to change the camera angle a little bit. So all the tools for 3D is up here. The first 3 changes the camera, the last 5 changes the models itself. So be careful. What you want to do is you can just click on the icon and you just click and drag it. And it will apply. So this is a zoom, this is a pan, this is a rotate. And you want to change like the perspective, like this is a very flat and neutral perspective. You can always go to like below over here, there's another bar that will pop up. You can go to display object list, camera, and you can change the perspective here from this slider. So you can press it, can make it more dynamic over here like that. Depending on what you want to use the scene for. Like some can make it look very compact. Some can make it look very far away. Yeah, it really depends. And you can also, even for like the human bodies, you can choose to have an outline, no outline. You can choose to have shadows. You can just not apply the light source at all, cast no shadows on the floor. Then you can make your outline a bit more prominent. So you have a rough guide for a background if you want to trace over it, or if you want to make this into like a line art or something like that. So you can change the background to white. If I'm not wrong, what you can do is you can posterize this. You can extract line. So once you're done with it, you can rasterize your 3D model. So for example, I want this. And then I go to extract line and look at it, it's like black and white already. And I can rasterize it. And if I want it to be line art, because currently it's all on one layer, I won't be able to paint underneath the lines. So what I want to do is I convert brightness to opacity and now it's line art. So I can just select things. So for example, I want to select this bookcase. And I want to do a quick brush over, give it like a wood color or something. There we go. And it's on a different layer, it's underneath. I can just do like an overpaint if I wanted to. And some lighting, blah blah, I don't know. It's a good way to set the mood. You can test out with this kind of things. This is how I get a lot of like really quick backgrounds done if I really needed to. I'm not good at drawing backgrounds from scratch because honestly I never really practiced as much. But this is one very convenient way. For example, I worked on Maya's commission back then. And it was Shanti. So this background, I didn't charge for it because actually these were models that I extracted from Clip Studio itself. So this one in the background, I extracted the lines, this as well. I rotated this chair to fall over, and then I just extracted the lines again, just did like a generic fill. The window was also a 3D asset. Yeah, all of that. You can do all of that for just using like the 3D software that's implemented in Clip Studio. So yes, I think that's all I want to share for tonight. And if you have any issues like setting up your workspace, or you do not know what you need or what some windows do, I would suggest just going through every single window that's on your current workspace to check if you really need it. And if you're not sure if you need it, means you don't need it. You don't need it yet. You can always just hide it, and then once you're like, I feel like I need something of that, then you can go and open it. But if you just don't have it on your workspace at all, you want it to be as optimized as possible so that you can easily get into the groove of like making something that you want to make instead of fighting the program. So yeah, yippee! I'm done. And like, yeah, if you want to start on any project and you don't know where to begin, let me know. I can always just advise and see like what's the workflow for you guys, because I know it's a little bit tough to figure out which point of the program to start with. Thank you guys. I want to play Minecraft now. I'm gonna go into Minecraft. I will stop here so that Vault watchers will have an easier time to like scroll back and forth. Okay. Yeah, alright. Thanks for dropping by. I hope this was a useful session to get to know Clip Studio a little bit more intimately. I hope you guys aren't as scared of using it. Alright, good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Have a good one. Have a good rest, guys. Bye. Wow.